That song always gets me so hyped up. It's like the perfect thing to do before a watch along. Hello everybody and welcome to Forever Rugby on First Sports. And as you can see by the gentlemen in the screens behind me, it is Stormers versus the British and Irish Lions at the Cape Town Stadium under lights, Saturday night lights. Is the protocol, and kickoff is in 26 minutes between the British and Irish Lions, their final match to try and put things together before they take on the Springboks in exactly a week's time. Next week Saturday, also at the same stadium. So a chance for them to get more used to the venue. They played there obviously on Wednesday. A chance for them to just sort of put the final sort of workings, a little bit on the squad and stuff like that. For the Stormers, a chance to create history. That is what awaits every single franchise side, every single invitational side, whenever they take on the British and Irish Lions, obviously the test side as well, but they have the chance to create history, to be the underdogs, to try and write that underdog story. Much like we just saw the Bulls with beating SAA, and I'm getting quite a lot of abuse for my player rating show, which I love. I enjoy it. If you don't agree with me, tell me you don't agree with me. I don't agree with you, it's fine. So all for some differing opinions. But we'll obviously be live for player rating show later so we can disagree some more. But keep you company for the next about, let's call it about 2 hours and a bit, will be myself as we talk about the Stormers versus the British and Irish Lions, which should be an interesting game. I think that, the Stormers, I don't know what we can predict from the Stormers, because let's be honest, they are probably the most inconsistent team in the country, because they can be really good one week and be horrible the next. So I suppose it all kind of comes down to which Stormers team we see tonight. Will they pitch up? Will their big players carry them through? Or will it be the side that, couldn't put away the Greek Quiz a little over a week ago? So it should be quite an interesting game. Very, very excited for it. Let's start jumping in the comments. Let's start getting the chat going. What are your score predictions? Where you're watching from? What is on the menu tonight in terms of your beverages? And all that type of thing. I want to know exactly what's happening in your life. So give me a shout. Let me know what you think. Are you backing? Any Stormer supporters in the chat? Are you all British and Irish Lions in here? Let me know where you're from, who you're backing, what your chats are, what you thought of the SAA versus the Bulls game earlier. Not probably the result, nor the performance you would have wanted to see, but I also think it's a game that you can't take too much out of it. I don't want to dismiss it and say that it's not relevant at all. But I think let's not get too reactionary about it and stuff like that, which I think a lot of people are, which is fine. You're allowed to, I suppose. I think you just the problem is if you get very reactionary, is you kind of have to eat your words a lot. It's like people you wrote the Springboks off, and I'm never going to support the Springboks, and then they go and win the World Cup, and you're sitting there going, maybe I should have backed them a little bit. So. Yeah, I'm not gonna stress too much about today. It's well done to the Bulls. Jake White. It's a very, very big victory for them. They deserve a lot of credit. They deserve everything that they deserve all the plaudits. It's their day. They'll always be able to say that we beat the SAA. But at the end of the day, the only thing I give a toss about is what happens next week Saturday. So if we had to go through today in order to get the box ready for next week Saturday, then it's a small price to pay. It really is a small price to pay. The whole point of the game earlier was to try and get game time in, and that's what we got. But today, now it is all focused on these two teams, as the British and Irish Lions have their last chance to try and get some game time. Last chance to impress. Warren Gatlin and Gregor Townsend and the rest of his team. Because if you're not on that test sheet yet, this is it. This is crunch time for you. You have got one last sort of 18 minutes, and most of you full bench, so you might even get 18 minutes, but you've got one last chance to go and put your name into the selection hat. So which of those players do you think today could be causing a bit of a headache? Something like Marcus Smith starting today, with the injury concerns surrounding Finn Russell, could he genuinely play himself onto the way to maybe on the bench? If he goes and has an outstanding game today, does he get himself, onto the bench and just, ride the injury wave? We often talk about the fact that on these tours, how often players who go on to have some of the best tours and sometimes be the best players are sometimes players who weren't even supposed to be either in the original squad. Sometimes they are players who join late. Sometimes those fringe, unexpected players who just, rise to the occasion and go on to really, really impress. Alwyn Jones on the bench today. What a story that is. Really, really keen to see how he goes and whether he's fully fit. And I think the Lions coaching staff will be very keen to see how he goes and see if he's up for it. If they've maybe made a mistake, if he can definitely play already. It's been 3 weeks to the day since he popped a shoulder up against Japan. So it is one of the most remarkable comeback stories in terms of just how quickly he's managed to come back up. So good on him, and I hope he gets through a nice game today, because I think that the tour is better for him. I think at the end of the day, we want to see our best players, don't we? That's why we want to make sure that your Sia Khaleesi's, your Andre Pollards, your Francois Herbers, your Bongi Manambis, all those players who are currently sitting in quarantine, we need to try and get them back, because we want to see our best side play the Lions. So it should be interesting to sort of see. As I said, it's the last chance for some of these players to sort of put their hands up. I mean, something like Ali Price, for example, I think is someone who has impressed on the tour so far, and I think that he probably was third in line by the beginning of the tour, but maybe by now maybe things are starting to sort of shift in his favor. Maybe he might be able to get a bit of a run in at that starting spot, or even off the bench. So there's plenty to play for still for the Lions, and Warren Gatland's not a team that he's not a coach that the team he's put out now does not mean that none of these players will play next weekend. He'll happily play somebody on Tuesday and play them in the test on Saturday. He's done it before in 2017. So him not being picked today for the Lions point of view does not mean that you are a fringe player or that you're not expected to play next weekend. But it does mean that you've got one more chance to prove why you should play next weekend, maybe. So it should be I'm very, very excited about the game, because I think that I think we'll also now start to see the British and Irish Lions want to test anything. They want to debut anything. They want to try and sort of see if they can do something or work on a play or something like in a match situation. This is it. So if there was ever going to be a time that we might start seeing, maybe not the ace up the sleeve, but maybe, a couple of queens or a pair of kings or something like that, this could be the time. So there's definitely, I think it's the game that'll be the most watched by Rusty Rasmus and co, because this is the game which could give them the most clues. If there were to be a game where they'll be able to learn anything about the British and Irish Lions side, this is the game to watch. And I don't think that you could take much out of the SAA. And again, because I think especially then they wouldn't have liked to have. I mean, if you're going to show your hand, don't show your hand when you're playing against your opposition, because you know that match will be far more analysed than this match will be, for example. So those are sort of small side things to watch out. For me, a couple of very interesting players to look out for the Stormers, and I'm hoping we see some big performances. We've already seen a couple of players. All the loose forwards actually really have been sort of stepping up, and I thought that Vincent Chatuka, Pepsi Buthelezi, Franco Horn, Werner Koch is somebody that comes to mind in terms of players who have sort of stood up and said, look at me throughout this tour so far. But I also think that people get, I think people, I'm more for building a hype train and getting excited, but I think people get carried away by individual individual performances. I mean, I thought Werner Koch had 2 storming games against the British and Irish Lions. Should he be in the Springbok squad? No, he should not. He's only just getting a chance to play in the starting lineup for the Sharks, and now you want to put him at outside centre for the Boks. I mean, you've got all these players who are being picked are players who perform consistently for a long period of time. So whilst I think that, maybe players like something like JD Schikkeling, for example, I think he's got a chance today to be able to say, I'm available for selection. The more experienced players who would have an easier time slotting into a national setup if that were the case. But I don't think, for example, like Evan Lewis today plays his way into the Boks squad. I think he's a bit too young and a bit too sort of new in and around. He hasn't really been around long enough to sort of settle in and know exactly what he's all about. He's in really good form, but is it form? Is it class? What are we dealing with? What type of player do we have? Do we have what could be a world-class player, or do we have a really, really raw talent who's going through a good phase? And I mean, it could just be. I mean, it could be the next Dwayne from Newton, for example. Maybe he is, but we don't know that yet. So I don't think. I think that we come sometimes, guys, let a little bit sort of reactionary towards sort of knee-jerk reactions where somebody plays well and like, oh, why isn't he in the squad? He should have been there. Maybe that player hasn't been playing particularly well. So that's why it's important to watch as much as you can, so that you are sort of, if you want to be properly informed, you need to watch as much rugby as you can. You need to watch the Currie Cup and watch the Rainbow Cup and try and watch overseas players and stuff like that. You can't just read an article that Tyron Green had a fantastic game in the Harlequins for the final and now he needs to be, the incumbent Bok full back. So, but yeah, and for the Lions, it's a good side. Stuart Hogg and Robbie Henshaw are back are the 2 big names, which are very exciting to see. I think both of them are probably potential starters if they go well today, because I think that they were supposed to probably be starters before. When they boarded the plane, I reckon they were sitting there thinking that these are our starters. We want to start with Robbie Henshaw and Stuart Hogg. But they've then had a horrible tour where they've had to isolate and they haven't played any rugby. I don't know if Henshaw was featured this tour. He played against Japan, I think. But Stuart Hogg played against the Lions, and that was it. That was the last time we saw him. He's been isolating ever since. So it's been quite frustrating for both of them. So this is an opportunity for them to sort of prove that, whilst they haven't been playing, that they're still up to scratch, that they that they're good enough, that they can do the job. I think they are. And I think they're such experienced players that I think that they wouldn't have any issue slotting in whatsoever. But it is still an important game for them today. Elsewhere, I think it's another chance for someone like Ali Price. We'll talk more about the sort of the players itself when we go through the lineups in a little bit. But yeah, let's start getting those score predictions in. Let's start seeing what are you backing, who are you backing, why are you backing them, what are you looking out for today? Are there any sort of specific areas or players or aspects of the game that you're really keen to see? Are you keen to see how this Lions pack, which maybe has been a little bit poor so far, performs? Do you want to see if the Stormers can sort of really rival them in any sort of areas? Let me know. Let's get the chat going. This is all about engaging with fellow rugby fans. So it's I can't engage if you're not jumping in the chat. So yeah, jump in the chat and let me know what you reckon. What's on the menu for tonight? What can we expect out of this game? We will be live after this game for a rating show that we did. We did earlier with the SAA, which is quite cool. And basically, what happens is that we drop a link in the comments at about 20 minutes to go, where you can go and start rating the players' performances. You give them a rating between 1 and 10, and then we go through it afterwards in a live show. We talk it out. We sort of see where everybody's standing. We get some input. We reckon we sort of like identify what everybody sort of the main things are and stuff like that, and then we give a final rating. It's actually been really, really well received. So I'm really, really chuffed that people are enjoying it because I really like doing it. I think it's quite nice to be able to immediately react. And look, sometimes we can be guilty of making decisions too hastily, where we sort of make a call and you go back in a day or two and you watch the highlights and you think, yeah, maybe we were a bit harsh there and stuff like that. But it's interesting to be able to get that sort of instant reaction and sort of see what everybody felt. And I mean, let's be honest, sometimes you'll think that somebody played badly and maybe everybody else is like, oh, you mad? Did you not see this? Did you not see that? So it's quite a nice sort of opportunity in that sort of respect to be able to sort of bump your opinions and what you thought of other people and be able to just chat it out. And by the time that we finish, I think that we all kind of are closer towards the truth in terms of how well a player actually played. Because at the end of the day, all that I see is not what you'll see, all that you see is not what I see, but in terms of we just add everything that we all see together, then we can start getting a decent idea of exactly what would happen and where we sort of stand. So yeah, please make sure when we check that link in the description that you do go and vote and that you do join us for the show afterwards. We will also have the British and Irish Lions press conference. We're busy trying to get into the Stormers one. I haven't received a link yet, so I'm not sure if I'll be able to get into that Stormers post-match press conference, but we are trying very hard to get into it. So if we do, then obviously that will be up tonight. Shark Ninabar's press conference is currently up on the channel from today, as well as the press conference with Kwagga Smith and Kobus Reinach, who were I think they were brutally honest about it. I think, Kwagga Smith were talking about the fact that the SAA were dominated up front and that they need to do better and stuff like that. Kobus Reinach was talking about the fact that it's all about sort of gelling as a team and, hitting your straps and making sure that, as a team that they're sort of progressing and stuff like that. So I think that they're very aware that today's performance was very much subpar and not acceptable. But I think that they're also very aware that at the end of the day, it doesn't matter because next week's the important one. If we win next week and Jacques Nienaber and Rassie Rasmus says, you know what, maybe if we didn't have that wake-up call last week, we wouldn't have won this, then that's all that matters. Today, the result wasn't important. It's the performance, and unfortunately, the performance is pretty poor. But that can sometimes be a good thing. So sometimes maybe that's a wake-up call. Maybe that lures the Lions into a false sense of security. We've also seen a bit of a battle of the words between the coaches starting. I think something that's been sort of blown out of proportion, to be honest. With the English media sort of insinuating that Rassie Rasmus was having a go at Warren Gatland, when I don't think he was. And there's been a couple of words between the two, which has been quite entertaining. I think it's good banter. I don't think we need to sort of read into too much into it. I think that people who get offended are just very stuck up and very, very serious about life. But yeah, let's go to the comments and see what everybody's saying. Sorry, there's one at the top there that I can't actually see. So I'll come back to that. But FNTSG, you can't read much into the SAA game because it wasn't the first team and they were trying new combinations for being Lions. Pinot van Veek is going Western Province 24, British and Irish Lions 32. It'll be quite nice to get a nice close game like that. FNTSG says, go Stormers. I'm a Stormers fan. Personally, I think Willemse should be 12 for Stormers. Well, it sounds like he'll either be 12 or else when WATCHALONG comes back, he'll potentially be moving to 13, is what John Dobson was implying in the pre-match press conference. Sean O'Farrell says, I just hope Stormers put up a good game. I'm just hope Hogg and Smith do well. Yeah, I'm very keen to see how Marcus Smith has a go. Damien is great at 12. Agree. Stormers have nothing to lose and everything to gain. I'm definitely not expecting a win, but I do hope they give the Lions a good run. I haven't been watching too much Northern Hemisphere rugby, so I'm keen to see what Marcus Smith has to offer as well. And Nicholas Jordan said, can't believe Johan Coulson is on the box set up. Mornay, Selbart, Hostage, Altenada Source, Coulson, perfect backup for Pollard. You know, I can understand where you're going with that, but let's not pretend that Johan Coulson has been playing week in, week out at Flower Hawk, because he hasn't. He's been playing it. I mean, he was at the same union as Andre Pollard. I know Andre Pollard was injured, but even when he was injured, Johan Coulson was not playing Flower Hawk. So, you know, are you going to really bring in somebody who has not been operating at Flower Half for the entire season and say, you need to be our Flower Half for a test series? I don't think you do. You know, it's like saying to, you know, a lock, listen, I know you've been playing lock the entire season, but I need you to come play number 7 for the Springboks. Look at what happened to the P-Steph toy. It took them a while to adapt to that sort of thing. So I can understand why. I mean, I wouldn't have minded him in the squad, for example. I'm not saying we shouldn't have him in the squad, but I can see why he wasn't picked as a backup fly half, because he hasn't been playing at fly half. I think he will be playing at fly half moving forward for Jake White. And once he does, and he can produce what he did today week in, week out, then sure. But we can't just go based on one good outing at fly half and say it's nuts that he wasn't selected, because, you know, it wasn't. He hasn't been doing that week in, week out. And, you know, to make a Springbok squad in your position, you've got to be doing it consistently, you know. He hasn't been part of the setup for a while. So I think it's a combination of things that's why he's not there. I think, you know, in a year's time, as Jake White says, he wants to make him into a Springbok again. And if he plays like he does today, then he will be there. But, you know, it's a bit like that, sort of like the Werner Koch performances. I don't want to be that person who sees one game, and he's been playing well all season. That's why I say I wouldn't mind him in the squad. But I don't want to see one game and decide, cool, well that should be our second choice flower half. You know, it's not fair on everybody else who's been playing, you know, in that position week in, week out and still can't make the squad, or even doing well and stuff like that. Peter van Wyk says, think Ruiz might keep talking out the team for a while. Well, he's supposed to be off as Johan Augustus. He's supposed to be on his way overseas. I'm very confused as to when he goes, why he's still here, what's the plan. He's supposed to be on his way to the Premiership, and they sort of keep, and every single time you ask him about it, they released a statement, they announced that he's leaving, and yet, you know, we still sort of see him sometimes popping up on a bench, and I don't know if he's injured or not. I mean, I don't know why you wouldn't play him today, so one assumes he's injured. He's just a bit everywhere. But Evan Lewis looks a class player. He really, really does. He's in some very good form. I mean, if he plays like he does like this for another year, then he starts knocking on box squad. But once again, I think he's somebody else that we can't just sort of say, oh, why is he not on the box squad? Because it's a very rich vein of form at the moment, which is fantastic. But you've got to do it for a while before you. I mean, we're talking about the world champions here. You know, you can't just have a couple of good games and suddenly be in the squad of the world champions. You know, I mean, I thought I just had to sort of squeeze that flex in a little bit. But yeah. Keep those score predictions coming in. Please do start smashing that like video. I want to try and get as many people as possible up on the stream. So that comes down to you. Share it with your friends. Smash that like button. Subscribe if you are new. You know, the more people are watching, the more people that are like smashing the like button and stuff like that, the more people we can get in the chat. The more people we get in the chat, the better the stream is. You know, the more people we've got here, the more conversations we've got going. It just makes everything so much better. So please do get involved and help us try and get as many people as possible into the stream itself. The kickoff is in 8 minutes, so we'll start going through the lineups in just a little bit. I'm just doing a bit of prep for the post-match show. The Ultimate Sharpshooter says 3-0 Stormers to win by single field penalty in the 81st minute. I will be so upset if I have to sit through. Look, I mean, I suppose there's worse things. I mean, some people prefer a low-scoring, tight game than an open. Look, I mean, I suppose, you know, like 12-9 is a closer game than, you know, 82-5. But, yeah, if I have to sit through a 0-0 81st minute penalty, look, I mean, it would be a phenomenal story. But it wouldn't make my job particularly entertaining. I suppose if it's entertaining enough and people are just not being able to score, that's fine. But I don't want to see a slugfest where we don't see anything happening. But, each to their own. I said, I think as long as it's a close game, I'll be very happy with what we see. So we'll go through the teams in just a moment and see what we've got dealing with today. It's some interesting calls on both sides. So let's go through it, shall we? Where am I? All right, the home team today, your men in blue, the Stormers. Sergio Peterson at fullback, and I think that's probably one of the weaker players in. Not because it's his fault, he's just not a fullback. But the 2 wings today, lots of pace, lots of excitement, and Siabela Sanatla and Edwin van der Merwe, another man with a scrum cap, taking on the Lions. Rikus Pretorius and Dan du Plessis are the centre combination. I've been enjoying Rikus Pretorius at outside and Dan du Plessis at inside, actually. I've enjoying the way that they're working together. Tim Sweels picked up some very good form at a very good time, and he's part of my Godlin similar injury to Paul de Vet rules him out. And a very explosive loose trio of Evan Ruiz, Johan de Toy, and Nama Klaba should be the sort of the players to watch. JD Schickling, a very highly rated lock at number 5, is with Ernst van Rijn, the captain for today. A front row of Neertling, Fouchier, JJ Kotze, and because of the long-term injury to Ali Vermaak, Leon Lyons will get a chance to front up against the British and Irish Lions. On the bench, Andre Hugo Venter, very exciting youngster, son of Andre Venter, Quenzo Blosser, and Sazi Sandi, former SA under-20 prop there. Justin Basson, he gets a chance today. I haven't seen any of them so far this season. Marcel Tennyson as well. And then Thomas Bursey, also something we haven't seen any of. And Abner van Rijn will come off the bench, as well as the imminent return of Jean de Jong, who is back from his stint with the Wasps. I'm very keen to see how he goes today. For the British and Irish Lions, they will be captained by Stuart Hogg at the back and the number 15 jumper. The 2 wings today are Josh Adams and Duran van der Merwe. Lots of power in Duran van der Merwe, lots of pace and raw finishing from Josh Adams. They're both scoring for tries for fun this tour. Elliot Daly is with Robbie Henshaw in the centre pairing. The halfback combination of Ali Price and the very exciting youngster just called into the squad on the weekend. Marcus Smith gets his first start and his first cap for the British and Irish Lions. A loose trio of Jack Cohen, Hamish Watson, Tyler Byrne could be auditioning for their potential involvement in the tests next week. Johnny Hill and Adam Beard. Adam Beard, the late caller for Edmund Jones, is the lock combination and the front row of Tarek Furlong, Luke Cowan-Dickey, and Rory Sutherland. Then off the bench, the players trying to make a difference in the second half and finish the game off are Jamie George, has captained this side before. Marco Vinapola looked very good on Wednesday, as well as Xander Ferguson, who didn't have a particularly good outing when he came on Wednesday. Then we've got Alan Jones back from his miracle recovery, and Sam Simmons, who's been deployed off the bench a lot so far this tour. Garrett Davies in the number 21 jumper. Chris Harris will cover centre, and we've got Louis Rees-Zammit, who can cover anywhere in the outside backs. Also, we've got Josh Adams, who can cover fullback as well. So those are the teams. I think, from a Stormers perspective, I'll be a little bit worried about Sergio Peterson, because I think that it's not his natural position. He's more of a wing and the fullback, and I think he's a little bit vulnerable under the high ball, which I think would be a bit of an avenue for the British and Irish Lions trying to attack. So if I was them, I would be targeting him quite early with that high ball and sort of seeing if he can cope. I think that front row is probably also a little bit vulnerable. I think if you had Ali Vermaak and if you had Scully and Tibeni who had been released back, they would obviously look a lot better. But that's not the case, so they'll have to deal with it. And I think that Sally Sunday and Quenzo Blosser, very inexperienced props to be able to come off the bench and try and front up against Marco Vinapola. So that should be quite interesting to see how they go. But yeah, I mean the wings, Edel van der Merwe, Siabela Sanatla they've got devastating pace. So you don't want to give them space. You don't want to let them get into a gap today. And the centre pairing of Dan du Plessis and Rikus Pretorius, well, they've got a lot to play for because Jean de Jong is obviously back. Warwick Geland's coming back from injury, and Dobson's reckoning he could be in the centres. And you've also got David Williams suddenly playing 12 for the box. So I think that, Geland or Willemse will expect to be starting the centres next season, and you've also got Jean de Jong, which means that where do those two fit in? So I think they'll very much feel like they're playing to sort of make sure that they're not dropped from the team, or they're incorporated within the side itself. So big games for those two, I think. Evan Ruiz, just 20 years old. Naman Klaba, 23 years old. Johan de Toy, 25 years old. Not a lot of experience in the front row. In the back line, a bit more sort of experience. You've got Dan du Plessis, 26, Tim Sweels, 28. Edel van der Merwe, I think the youngest player in the back line is 25. So there's more experience in the back line. The forwards are pretty young. And it's a nice opportunity as a young forward to try and sort of have a go. And sort of see where you stand, really. And I've lost my tab with all the comments. Where are you people at? Where are you? Ah, here you are. Right. So, Peter van Veek says Edville is the next Colby / Aplon. Yeah, just because he's got a scrum cap, but there's just a lot of comparisons. You know, the way he plays, the way he runs is very exciting. Hoggy needs a huge game today. I wouldn't be surprised if Adams adds to his record. Yeah, I mean, Josh Adams looks like he's going to score a try every single time he touches the ball. I'm just sorting my sound up for the game so I can hear what our referee and co has to say. Right, Stuart Hogg leading the men out. So this is your last chance to get your score predictions in, because afterwards, I mean, don't be that person that puts their score prediction in the 65th minute. I mean, come on, you know, get your predictions in. Alwyn Jones, tour captain, is back in the number 19 jumper. You'll probably get at least half an hour today. So, fun fact about Stuart Hogg. This is his 9th game for the British and Irish Lions. 9th game. He's never ever played a test match. So just saying now. Sorry, I'm going to have a bit of chocolate. I'm starving. I didn't have lunch today. Storm is playing in their commemorative, very special new edition Stormers shirt, which you can own for, I think it's like 7 or 800 rand. A piece of history, apparently. Eric P says 75, I hope not. Grant Swartz is saying Stormers 20, Lions 35. So people predicting a bit of a closer game than we've seen before, which I really hope is the case. Look, the Stormers had a long time to be able to analyze the Lions. So, for example, if you know that if you're not competing at the breakdown and you're leaving space out wide, well, you know, God help you, because you've had all the time in the world to realize that that's exactly what they're going to do. So it comes down to you whether you actually watch the other games and you learn anything from it. The man in the middle will be Wayne Barnes, English referee. So, you know, everybody complaining, how can there be a South African referee for SAA versus the British and Irish Lions, which first of all is not a test match, so, or an international match technically, so it's actually allowed. But now it'll be Wayne Barnes. So, you know, all those English players are going to get away with it tonight. I'm so over. I hate blaming the referee. I think it's such a cuck sort of cop-out. Peanut van Veek says typical Western Province that they go out and have the game of their lives. You know, I feel like the Stormers at the moment and Province would be the type of side that will go out and beat the British and Irish Lions and then go and lose to like 3 Currie Cup games in a row. We've got kickoff though. The Stormers go deep down the middle. They are playing left to right. First touch of the ball for Marcus Smith, who makes a good take, and it's a very nice touch finder. That's a hell of a start from the youngster. He had all the angle in the world, and he's found touch inside the Stormers inside the Stormers half. So that's a nice little start. Lots of hair with Marcus Smith. Apparently very vocal. Bit of a baby-faced assassin. An early line win. That's good solid stuff from the Stormers. Tim Sweel going to Sergio Peterson, who wants to go back down the blind side. So an early touch for Edel van der Merwe. He's got quite a few players ahead of him. Oh, he's broken through. He's still going. He's eventually brought down by Tad Byrne. Thought about getting the offload. Now got him a similar. Brings in Sergio Peterson, who comes back inside for his captain, Ernst van Rijn. Very nice start here from the Stormers. I'll tell you what, if Edel van der Merwe got through that last tackle, it would have been very interesting. Namaklaba is skipped and Tim Sweel goes to the boot. Now, this is an interesting tactic that they're going to try and use. It's very contestable. It hasn't gone particularly far. Stuart Hogg's gone up and it's popped around a couple of people. Johan van der Merwe has come away with it. He goes on a bit of a marauding run. He's bundled into touch. So that's a nice tackle by Evan Roos. Solid start. I think lost forward is the call there. I don't know if it's lost forward from Stuart Hogg or if it's from one of the Stormers players. But they went up quite early, so I think it'll be interesting to see if that's going to be a tactic of the Stormers. They're going to try and put the British and Irish Lions under pressure. And that's a very good point, Sean and Farrell. Let me get our scoreboard up so you know exactly what is plotting. And there it is. Minute and a half, front three, first scrum. It'll be a Stormers put in. The lock pairing is actually heavier for the Stormers. Helps having J.D. Schickerling there. But the loose trio of the British and Irish Lions heavier than the Stormers by 11 kg. So not too much difference in the weight of the two scrums. But obviously chalk and cheese in terms of the experience and the quality, really, if we're going to be very, very honest. Right, first scrum of the day. What can the Stormers do? Can they just sort of hold up? It's gone straight down, so we'll have a reset just for a bloody change. Stupid reset scrums. What a waste of my time. So we have another reset here. Look, I mean, I think it's the start of the British and Irish lines, which hasn't been that impressive. Is the scrum? Guanswell says hoping for a big game from Mama Clubber. He's a future block for sure if you stay injury free. 100%. Paper doesn't have dreams. He has movies. And Murder Stephen, you love a reset scrum. Oh, it's nothing worse. Nothing worse. How much rugby do we lose because we have to reset scrums all the time? Just get it right first time. Well, there's a lot of shoving in before the ball even goes in. It's a short-term penalty for the Stormers, which is about fair. There seemed to be a lot of instability and a bit of pushing in before they went in there. So that's a nice small win here for the Stormers. And I think, given the fact that they're about the half, just inside the British and Irish Lions territory, probably tap. Are they going for another scrum? Well, I enjoy the confidence in that. You can see, completely shoving before the ball's even in. Come now, mate. I've got time off here. Tyler Byrne not getting attention. I think he's got a hand injury. I think he's asking for a little bit of strapping on his hand. People, as you can see, we are painfully close to 2,600 subscribers. So if there are 10 of you watching that haven't subscribed, please just hit that subscribe button. Let's see if we can get up to 2,600 by the end of the stream. We're pushing for 3,000 this tour at the rate it's going. It's been phenomenal having all you guys up here. Yeah, I'm hoping that you feel closer to the tour because of what we've been doing, getting all the press conferences and stuff up and making sure that you guys are as close as you can take you really to the tour. Right, so we're ready to go here. So we'll have our clock on. Alwyn Jones is on the bench. Yes, he is. He is indeed. Right, so it's a decent hit there. Pretty solid. Oliver Simler uses it. Goes to Shertle Peterson, who tries to grab it down, but that's been blocked by Marcus Smith. So we'll go into touch for a British and Irish Lions line out. Well, Marcus Smith, that's two good involvement so far. Nice touch finder, and then getting in the way of Shertle Peterson's kick from behind. Francois, the British Irish Lions have been going for the channel. Yeah, it's what we were hoping for it. We had so much planned for this tour, and it's just they've delivered on the field as well. It's a messy line-out victory there for the Lions. Duan van der Merwe will clean up, runs straight into Tim Swiel. He's brought down by Johan de Toy. Going down the left here, Tyler Byrne. Nice tackle on him from Neatly Mashir and Ernst van Rijn. Now Stuart Hogg gets his first touch of the ball. Second, actually. The first one was to knock it on. That's a solid hit on Rory Sutherland there from the captain, Ernst van Rijn. You'd have to think that the Stormers will have to front up. They're going to have to really be physical today. They're going to want to try and do anything. Ali Price goes to his boot, bringing out that left foot of his. Shertle Peterson is well placed. He runs straight into Jack Conan and Johnny Hill. Got a bit of momentum. They're trying to hold him up, but they managed to bring him down, so they do have to release him. JD Schickerling carrying it up. It's a good solid hit on him. Hamish Watson is... Oh, that's a hand in there, so we're going to advance. I don't know if it's a knock-on advantage or penalty advantage. Cross kick comes in from Tim Swiel. Jean de Jong's on the field. So I think Ertel van der Merwe is off. That's a horrible start for him. Yeah, it looks like Jean de Jong's on. Didn't land well after the aerial challenge here from Josh Adams, but it's definitely Ertel van der Merwe that's off, because Jean de Jong's currently on at the wing, which that's probably the worst possible start from the. Yeah, it's just poor there. Playing the scrum off as the call. No, I lie, because I'm seeing Ertel van der Merwe there. So is Rickers Pretorius there. Did Jean de Jong start? Did I miss some late team news? I'll verify. My apologies if I've missed something. That's what happens when I chat to you guys instead of checking to see what's going on in the beginning. But Jean de Jong is definitely on the field. So they're going for the line now, have the Stormers. They'll have a line on the 22. Important that JJ Kotz nails this because, you know, it's that's what we didn't see in the SAA. Well, it's contested. And it's messy, but Godlin Masimla has come away with it. That's a horrible pass by Tim Sweel. Josh Adams has kicked ahead. Now the race is on. Edwil van der Merwe will win the race and go back. And that is so poor from from Tim Sweel. Yeah, John de Jong's got the number 13 jersey, so a late change for him. And I'm trying to see who's on the bench then. So Cornel Smith has come in. So yeah, no, this is all. Yeah, I don't know what's going on. But no Rick Pretorius in the looks of it. So John de Jong is starting. So that's a nice read there from Josh Adams. I can hear the commentary. You don't want the Agri Supersport watchdogs to come after you. And it's a penalty for the Stormers. And I think it's Josh Adams who kept rolling after the channel. So a couple of early mistakes here from the British and Irish Lions. So they'll try and kick this down here, will the Stormers? It's past 6 o'clock, which means I'm actually going to open a beer. I'm going to open a beer. Cheers to everybody. Let me know if anybody's joining me with one of these classy beverages. It'll be a lineup just for the 22. JJ Kotzer goes up to Urs van Rijn. That's a much better lineup, victory. Here comes the first rolling more from the Stormers. Cheers, everybody. And they've broken away, so they've got a little bit of go forward ball here to the Stormers. JJ Kotzer pops it up to Godlin Masimla. He goes to Namaklaba. Cuts inside. Brought down. It's available for Godlin Masimla. Patience is important, yeah. Patience is important for the Stormers. But it's been turned over by Tad Byrne, who then puts Stuart Hogg under a little bit of pressure. Oh, sorry, Edwil van der Merwe, who then goes across Stuart Hogg. Looking to run it now. He's got on the outside of Edwil van der Merwe. He eventually kicks it ahead. Found a bit of space. Josh Adams is chasing hard. Tim Sweel is there to clean up. And inside 22, they're taking it quickly. Have the Lions. Stuart Hogg spots a bit of space down the left. And Turtle Peterson is aware to the threat. He's under a little bit of pressure. He's looking to show a chip and chase. Ooh, bounce up nicely. Oh, it hasn't bounced up great from Johnny Hills. Eventually collected it back. He's swarmed by a couple of Stormers players, but the Lions players do come in to assist. Chad Furlong, the first receiver. Right, now Marcus Smith kicks in behind. Spots a bit of space. How will that ball bounce? Edwil van der Merwe, the man retreating. He's got Tim Sweel outside him. Tim Sweel got plenty of time to find his touch finder. It's a good touch finder, but I reckon we might take it quickly. Yeah, it gets taken quickly here by Elliot Daly. Now Stuart Hogg takes it up and is well taken down by John de Jong. Ali Price goes a bit of sniping roll. Pops it up to Johnny Hill. John de Jong very aware there. Making quite a few tackles there. Nice reads. Now it's Rory Sutherland. The Stormers need to try and sort of fix their defensive line. The space out wide for the Sharks. A bit of a poor pass from Marcus Smith to Hamish Watson as he gets wrapped up by Ernst van Rijn. Now Tanner Furlong. Oh, he's running on a gap as Tanner Furlong. Nothing like a tighter than a gap. Good read. Once again, John de Jong up quickly, slipping the tackle, but it comes in eventually. Right, now Hamish Watson bounces off JD Schickerling, who eventually comes back to make the tackle once again, but he's up to the 10-meter line. Ali Price bringing in Tad Byrne. That's a nice hit on him from Neatley for sure. A couple of Stormers players all the way through there, and they turn over the ball at the Stormers. Evan Lewis comes away with it, runs up and sees Marcus Smith, so he backs himself, gets himself into the British and Irish Lions territory. Got him a similar. Now goes Turtle Peterson. Now Turtle Peterson spots a bit of space out wide. Will that bounce favorably for him? Josh Adams under a bit of pressure, waiting for that ball. Perfectly weighted. Take a bow. Take a bow, Turtle Peterson. And the Stormers, in fact. Really, really good hit there from Neatley Bashir. The Stormers players come piling in. They turn the ball over. Quick ball to Turtle Peterson. Sees their space in behind. Chips over the top. Josh Adams can only watch it run into touch. And the British and Irish Lions will restart with a 5-meter line out deep inside the 22. As much as I love the Lions tour, I hated being born and raised in Cape Town, but I live in England. I'm joining with an ice cold Amstel, 38 degrees Celsius. Schickerling is good enough to play for the Bokke. Yeah, I think if he didn't have any injury issues, I think he might have been up there. Wales 11, Argentina 33. Jeepers, I missed that game. I need a beer. Yeah, crack one open, Nick. Crack one open. Sorry, nice and sleazy. And it's a penalty to the Lions have been this. The sack is the call there. I think he's been pulled down. So that's a bit poor from the Stormers, who after putting the Lions under pressure, and it's JD Schickling, the man we just said could be playing for the Boks. He's the man that infringes there. And I think that's the frustrating part, is that if you do that, you do everything well to get yourself in that position, put them under pressure, and then, there's just no need to commit that penalty. Try and get them all going. Have a competitive more. Try and see what you can do. Put them under pressure. Keep them there. Force a clearance. That's the whole point of playing the territorial game. So they're trying to go for the more here. Are the Lions? They've been pinned back initially, but they're trying to sort of rework the angle. Ball's out. It's available for Ali Price at the back there. It's nice more defense there from the Stormers. Jack Conan trying to make a few meters. Pick up and go from Tad Byrne. Namak Glover's all over that, as is JJ Kotza, but they never got back on side as the call, so it's another penalty for the Lions. Sean Farrell says Australia 33, France 30. I saw that it was very, very close there. I pity. I would have really liked to have seen France try and pull off something special. But, credit to that French team, because it very much was a second string side, and they pushed the Australians. Well, right there. So lots of good things happening over there in France. Rugby related. I think they definitely will be contenders when it comes to the 2023 World Cup. Right, so a line out here for the Lions just inside the 22. So Calvin Dickey will try and find his line out jump, and I reckon they'll probably go straight to the maul once again. They go to the back to Tad Byrne. Yep, and you guessed it, here comes the maul. A couple of Stormers players on the floor, so I reckon this will probably be a penalty advantage for collapsing. So far, nothing solid. I think it's going to have to be used here by Calvin Dickey. Yeah, he has to use it. Does use it. Goes to Ali Price, who Henshaw trying to dive it in behind. Okay, it's a penalty. It's a penalty against Stormers for offside. They weren't 10 with the back line, so that's pretty poor, really. And it's this is a perfect spot. Johnny Hill's pointing for the line. I'll be very tempted for a scrum at this position, but they will go for the line with the line. So Stormers' discipline is going to cost them a little bit here. Marcus Smith finding touch. Right, so once again, here we go. There's a solid win there. This time it's Adam Beer, the man that went up, and it's gone straight down. It's gone straight down, so that's a nice favourable win there for the Stormers. It's available, pick up and drive. Well defended there was Calvin Dickey that time. Here comes Adam Beard. Johnny Hill now, pick up and drive. Oh, that ball's available, and Evan Lewis goes diving in. Jack Conan, that's a penalty advantage here from the Stormers. Taylor Furlong, it's a big hit on him from Leon Lyons. A penalty advantage, so one imagines that this is going to go straight to Marcus Smith, and if there's ever a time for him, and they spilled it forward, having said that, and they pick up and go. Tap and go here from the Lions. Cowan Dickey is almost over. Does he get there? He gets there. He scores. First points. Oh, penalty. Oh, it's rolling from Glue Cowan Dickey. Cowan Dickey tapping and going, trying to get over. And he was over, except double movement is the call. He did roll. So you can sort of see why the call was made there. So it's a penalty for the Stormers, and it's a bit harsh, I think. I'm not sure if he double rolled or if he kind of sort of landed there and decided to do this. But yeah, I suppose whatever Wayne Barnes says. Johnny Nell says, remember what was the score between the Lions, British Irish Lions? Don't say Stormers is poor lol. Yeah, look, long way to go. But I mean, both the Sharks and the Lions had already conceded by now. They started terribly, did those three. So the Stormers have started much better here. Mark Julian, he says, born in Durban, raised in Amundsen Toti, live in UK, sea lions on a shirt, never mind British Irish Lions. Come on, Stormers. That's a brilliant kick from Tim Sweel. He's found touch inside the Lions territory. Oh, they're going to the back. And it's Dan du Plessis run a very nice line there. So he gets past 10 meter. Nicely worked line out there from the Stormers. Quick ball from Masimla. Neatly Bashir. Bit of a standing stop, but he makes a nice hit there. Colin Masimla now goes to Leon Lyons. So prop to prop. And that's a nice carry from him. Johnny Hill trying to hold him up. So they managed to sort of gain a few meters. Now here comes the back line. Sergio Peterson brings in John de Jong. It's a nice angle by John de Jong. He's still going. He's eventually brought down by Marcus Smith. Once again, quick ball from Colin Masimla. Now Sergio Peterson. Sergio Peterson still looking for a runner. It's off his arms, and he regathers the Sergio Peterson, so he's still going. He's inside the 22. Desperately trying to get him down. It's ripped in the tackle from Robbie Henshaw. So it's available for the Lions. Really, really nice pass to play there from the Stormers. But it's the Lions who've got it back. Nice solid hit on Cowan Dickey from Evan Lewis and Netley Bashir. Ali Price will now look to the box kick. So if this finds touch, this could be another opportunity for the Stormers. That's not a brilliant kick from Ali Price. So that's worked out perfectly for the Stormers. That was nicely played. That was a bit of innovation that we didn't really see from the Lions and the Sharks, you know. Line over the top. It's a really nice couple of offloads. Sergio Peterson looks like he's drawing a couple of players, brings in John de Jong. Sergio Peterson is up quickly to try and make another gap, stuff like that. Looking much better here, all the Stormers, than the other unions in the early stages. 17 minutes gone. No points on the board yet. They've got a line on inside the 22. They're going to the back again. It's a solid take off the air by Leandro Toye. Not convinced he wasn't playing in the air. Moore's going forward here from the Stormers. I'm not sure Johnny Hill is there for the middle. I think, he has to get out of there. He does. So it's available for Masimla. He goes to... It's a bit of a strange tactic. That looks like Leon Lanzas, by the way, at number 4. Who's number 14? It's not Sanatla. Jady Schickerling. Jady Schickerling's going on a bit of a run here. He's eventually brought down by Ali Price and Marcus Smith. I reckon he backed himself ahead of those sort of weight categories. Now Edel van der Merwe cleans up. It's a bit messier from the Stormers. Need a bit of support so they can get the ball available. It is. Colin Masimla going quite quickly. Nearly Bashir just puts his head down and takes it up. There we go. The Stormers. Tad Byrne, they're trying to turn the ball over. But it's available for Masimla. Not really going anywhere are the Stormers so far. But getting a couple of phases together. Masimla quick ball again. I think he had half a gap there, but decided to run against it. Masimla's getting quite quick ball here, and it's a penalty. It's a penalty for the Lions. For the Stormers against the Lions. That's brilliant. And you've got the pressure, Stormers. Go for the line. Go for the line. You've got the pressure. You've got the momentum here. And Gonçalves says Barnes did blow for the same thing on Josh Adams. Yeah, true. I said the Stormers would have looked at how the Sigma Lions and Sharks games to see how they could do. Well, that's why I was saying that, in theory, they're the best position to be able to beat the Lions because they've had the longest time to watch how they play and sort of, learn and stuff like that. It's one thing analysing and saying this is what we need to do better. It's another thing actually doing it. I'm going to end the poll, by the way, what people said, so we can have a look at stuff. They're taking the points here, the Stormers. Not the worst idea. I think they had the momentum, so I would have liked to have seen them be a little bit braver because I think, the British Irish Lions probably will score today. So you're backing in a huge, monumental physical effort. Although having said that, I think if the Sharks and the Lions had taken more kickable penalties, as Tim Sweel slots that, then it might have been a bit of a kinder scoreline. So we said the winning prediction is the British and Irish Lions to win by more than 39%. After that was Stormers win. Then only 23% saying British and Irish Lions to win by 10%, and only 2% saying a draw. Thank you to the 146 of you that voted on that. We are 2 people away from 2,600. Keep hitting that subscribe button. Let's see if we can break 2,600 before half time. Marcus Smith with the restart. It's a very nice take up the air by Jady Schickerling. Colin Masimla asking a couple of blockers here for a box kick. They don't really arrive for him, to be fair. Ernst van Rijn eventually getting in there. Masimla kicks ahead anyway. Ooh, and it's been spilled forward. Leon Lanzas there, who actually probably should have done a little bit better. He actually had a bit of a clean catch by the end of it because nobody else contested it. So yeah, Leon Lanzas is in the side for Sanatla. Starting, Ali Price was going to go down the right side, to go down the left. Rory Sutherland decides to try and put in a bit of the afterburners, but gets well wrapped up. Marcus Smith goes to Luke Cowan-Dickey. He gets himself past the 10 meter line. Sorry, past the halfway line. Very strong ball carries Luke Cowan-Dickey. Now Johnny Hill. Solid hit on him, and Urs van Reyder is quick over the ball, but he's taken out. Now they're going back to the pocket, and Marcus Smith puts it up. Two really new runners. It's a big test here by Sergio Peterson. Brilliantly taken out the air, and he twists around as well, so he buys a bit of time for support to arrive. Sergio Peterson, well, I said he might be a bit of a weakling because he doesn't often play at full back. He hasn't played there recently, but he's looking really, really solid so far. A couple of the forwards now picking it up here. That ball was definitely, I think, out of the stage. It's bounced back in, so it's available for Godwin Masimla. So Masimla hoists it. This will be a test here for Marcus Smith and Evil Fundamental. Oh, and Marcus Smith has knocked it backwards. It's available. Dan du Plessis, but Stuart Hogg showing his class. Sliding on there. He's handed off. Thinking, he's off. Stuart Hogg is off. And he then just throws the worst pass of the match. That was just brilliant, brilliant awareness there from Stuart Hogg, because Marcus Smith, under a lot of pressure, had knocked that ball back. And Dan du Plessis, his eyes lit up like it was Christmas, trying to hack that ball ahead. He reckons he's going to score a try, but Stuart Hogg's on his knees, sliding across, grabbing the ball, handing off Edwin van der Merwe, and then going off on himself. And if he'd gotten that pass away, it could have been try time. It's really good pressure on Edwin van der Merwe and Marcus Smith, and that's the nice thing to do. You know, when you've got a youngster who's playing, he'll be nervous. A couple of big hits on him will make a big difference. So it'll be a Stormers line just ahead of the 10-meter line on the left-hand side of the park. Schickling up, and that's a horrible tap down for Godwin Masimla, so it'll be a knock-on for the Lions. That was really test made. JD Schickling went up, but then went, really? Zoop! Really, talk about an unnecessary mistake there. I think it was, I don't know if JD Schickling panicked a little bit, but he just tossed it straight down to the base of his feet. Callum Harris says, I'm going to feel very hurt if any extra Chiefs players score like Johnny Hill, Cowan Dickey, maybe Simmons if they use him knife in the back. And Marlon Nordia says, I don't like Stormer, but want them to win. And Zuss play 14. Yeah, so Leon Zuss at 14 and Jean de Jong at 13. Players that weren't supposed to start but are on the park. That's going a very nice opening period here. Not too many stoppages. We're 23 minutes in. Grant Swartz in the lead. VPA Lekker Day. Nicholas Jordan says, teams still facing each other out. Still feeding each other out. Sorry, second half should open up. My final score 26-21 British and Irish Lions. What's a penalty? And Josh Adams has gone on a run. Tim Sweel makes tackle. I'm not convinced he was 10. But and they've turned it around at the Stormers. To Edwin van der Merwe. It's a bit of a sloppy ball from him. He's under a lot of pressure here, so he needs a bit of support. Yeah, it's been turned over, but I think knocked on was the call. So knock on first of all from the Lions. So it'll be a Stormers penalty. Scrum. It's a nice tackle by Tim Sweel. He gets himself nice and low. Oh, and a bit of afters between Tim Sweel and Josh Adams. I love it. I love it. Let's get handy. Handling here is 4-3 at the moment. So something that both teams probably need to sort out a little bit. We'll have another scrum here. That's early engagement once again, and it's a long arm penalty. British and Irish Lions scrum here. Well, you wouldn't even know if they're better, because at the moment they just keep pushing before the ball is, and they've conceded another penalty, which is such a poor penalty to concede. Really. Tim Sweel now keep nicely last time to get himself some decent distance, and he's found touch. Oh, that's a brilliant kick. Brilliant kick. He gets that just beyond the 20, before the 22 rather. So it's a really good kick there from Tim Sweel, who also actually looks really up for it. I've been saying now that he's been playing. I thought I was a little bit apprehensive with how he was playing when he first came, but he's starting to play some really, really good rugby now. And here he is trying to bring in Dan du Plessis, inside ball from Evan Roos, who's wrapped up by Robbie Henshaw. And Hamish Watson was all over that ball, but it was then pulled off his feet. Godwin Masimla goes neatly for sheer inside ball to JJ Kotzer. Now behind him, Tim Sweel goes to Dan du Plessis. Dan du Plessis decides to straighten, goes through. Marcus Smith eventually brings him down. Masimla, it looked a little bit, that was a pretty poor pass. it was a hard pass on Sure, they turn it over, and now Stuart Hogg will bring up the torpedo. It'll bounce just ahead of the halfway line and run to touch inside Stormers territory. because Ali Price was tearing it after it, but yeah, it wasn't a great pass on Masimla. It was a difficult look if nearly Bashir had taken that. It could have been interesting, but it was a bit of a bullet pass to his tight end, and that's not what they do for a living. They scrum. Cam Harris says that the Lions win overall. To be honest, one test I'll never hear the end of it. And Grant Smart says Marcus Smith saw a flying scrum cap coming at him. Yeah, listen, I mean, get used to it in the South Africans. We've got quite a few of them floating around. Evan Lewis now off the back of the line-out. That's a nice tackle on him from Luke Dickey. Now McClever picking up the ball from the base of the rack and just going himself. Now got him a similar shaping up for a box kick. Right, it goes up. Emil van der Merwe is after this. He contends for it, and Tad Byrne is there to win it back. Gives it to Stuart Hogg, who goes to Marcus Smith. Marcus Smith sees a bit of space. Quick hands there from Elliot Daly. Van der Merwe's got space ahead of him. Now he's got the pace. No, he's been wrapped up by Dan du Plessis. Still going though. Little pieces eventually making the tackle, but they've gone up all the way to the halfway line. Quick ball from Ali Price. Henshaw brings a Tad Byrne. That's a nice tackle on him from Netli Bashir, who's really, really up for this. Now McClever now wrapping up Jack Conan in the middle of the park. Oh, it's pick up and go. Tad Furlong is through. The tight head is brought down by Tim Sweel. Tad Byrne picks up and goes. Lions almost to 22. Johnny Hill now. Adam Beard through the gap. He throws the long pass. It bounces for Josh Adams. Now Josh Adams cuts inside. He eventually comes down into the 22 now. The Lions. Oh, it's a brilliant run there from Adam Beard. And the handling just outdoing the Stormers. The first try of the match. And it's an absolute beauty. No pillar, no post. Tad Furlong found the gap. He was away. Thought he had the pace. Didn't quite. It was brought down by Tim Sweel. And then the hands. It's just the hands that are so good by the British and Irish Lions. A couple of pops in around there. You know, a pass out wide by Adam Beard, which bounced, and Josh Adams then had a lot to do. Cut inside and was wrapped up. He ran straight into Gollum similar. But then once again, I mean, it was Adam Beard was running the perfect line. Evan Ruiz and JJ Kotze guilty of not really seeing him, and he waltzed through, untouched, unfazed, on the board. He's been very good so far this tour, has Adam Beard. We've got a player who's down here. I think it's Josh Adams is down receiving a bit of treatment, so that's not too good to see. But Marcus Smith will have his first kick of the match and his first chance to score some points in the British and Irish Lions jersey. Marcus Smith has played for three different teams in 4 weeks. Played for the Harlequins in the Premiership final. That was actually 3 weeks. Then played 2 tests for England, and now he's playing for the British and Irish Lions. He's got his first points in the red jersey as he puts that straight down the middle. Pretty straightforward kick from him. Right, so as the half an hour point ahead is almost on us, it's 7 points to 3 ahead of the for the British and Irish Lions. It's Elliot Daly underneath the restart there. He was eventually wrapped up, doesn't make any meters. They've got set to 22 to the Lions. Ali Price looking for a couple of runners. It looks like it'll be Tad Furlong, who runs it to Jean de Jong. Jean de Jong looks a little bit bigger these days. I think he's put on a little bit of weight there. Got quite a big chest there. Right, Ali Price will shave for the box kick here. Goes pretty deep, but it should be contestable. Very nice take by Sergio Pearson on the run, and he's still going. He's eventually wrapped up by Tad Byrne. Well, Sergio Pearson's looked really good so far. Nearly Bashir, another player who's looked pretty well, will carry it up. Ball's available for Goddard Assembly. Has to use it quite quickly. Tim Sweel now. Goes to JD Schickling, who's a little bit isolated. The ball pops up for Goddard Assembly. Dan du Plessis doesn't have much on, so he'll go himself. Support comes in. Oh, very nice turnover there by Cowan Dickey. Wayne Barnes thought about blowing his whistle and then decided against it. There's nobody home, so I think it's Tim Sweel who's tearing back. He's got it's a nice offload for Sergio Pearson, who gets away from Ali Price. Pop up to Jean de Jong. Jean de Jong trying to penetrate a gap. He's still going, rolling. So the Stormers all the way back inside their half. Alright, now got him a similar right by the 22, just outside. We'll go for the box kick. It's contestable. Leon Zass is after this. Stuart Hogg's very good in the air, makes a nice tackle, but Leon Lass is there to sort of dump him a bit. And Namakaba was trying to steal that ball, but quickly taken off. Now Tad Furlong, he's about his 6th or 7th carry already. He's made a lot of carries so far. Rory Sutherland thought about the pass inside, but then put his head down. It was Ray making the pass. Ali Price sniping. Jack Conan is through. Ooh, and it was almost off to Beard for another one, but Sergio Peterson making the interception. He knocks it on in doing so, but it's definitely a genuine attempt, so it won't be a penalty. And if that had gone to hand, I reckon Adam Beard would have had a couple of could have had a lot to do there for Adam Beard, but I reckon he probably had the legs to do it, to be honest. Did John start? Yeah, I think as Grant spots, yeah, so he did start him and Leon Zas. So 4 penalties conceded so far from the Stormers, 5 from the British and Irish Lions, 6 handling errors from the Stormers, 3 from the Lions. The time is off. And we'll restart with the scrum here. No, time actually wasn't off. So I'm 10 seconds behind you. Okay, so another scrum here. It will be red put in, so Ali Price has got the ball in hand. Quite a nice opportunity to attack here, but we haven't had a lot of stability from the scrum, so they haven't had a lot of chances from it. That's a much better scrum. That's a big scrum from Tarek Furlong, and they've won the penalty, have the Lions. If I was then, I'm asking for another one. Probably go for the line, but Neil for sure, they're under a lot of pressure. Tarek Furlong and Rory Sutherland had a nice hit, and it looked a lot more dominant this time. Marcus Smith will kick towards the corner, and John Renal says Jean and Damien Delendi together would be dangerous. Yeah, it wouldn't be the worst combination in the world, but John, yeah. I think we're going to see, I'm interested to see what John de Jong plays. You know, he can play inside centre, he can play outside centre. And there's lots of talk, you know, that Willemse might settle it at inside centre with the Stormers, or else Warwick Lant might go to outside centre. So big calls to make regarding what happens in those centres for the Stormers. Go to the front of the line. Johnny Hill next, and they're trying to set up the rolling more here are the Lions. It's good early defence though. So try to peel off to the right. They've gone 5, so the back line comes in. It's still going though. Luke Cowan-Dickey has found nobody ahead of him. Luke Cowan-Dickey is over. They won't disallow that one. And that's just horrible, horrendous from the Stormers. I mean, he burst through, looked up, and everybody was just sort of watching him. Really, really, really poor there from the Stormers. You've been doing so well to stay in it, and it's so easy. That, I mean, the Maul sort of breaks apart, and he kind of looks up and doesn't realize why he's still attached, because there's nobody ahead of him. So the Maul is going to the right, it's going to the right. The call comes in that they've gone fast, so all the players start moving up, and he then bursts through, and there's just nobody at home. Leon Lanzas is late to react. He grabs his legs, but too late, and Luke Cowan-Dickey slams that ball over the try line. Yeah, it's a great try. It's good awareness by Cowan-Dickey. As I said, once he saw there was nobody ahead, just put his head down, and literally, bang, was the placing. So Marcus Smith will have another chance to add to his personal tally, and it's just a moment of. I mean, obviously it's a really good maul, but I mean it's just not much awareness there really from the Stormers. They burst straight through. That's a very, very confident kick there from Marcus Smith. Doesn't take too long. Sails it straight down the middle. 14 points to 3, and yeah, as I said, after I mean halfway mark looking solid, but that was far too easy. Archie and Lisa, the Lions win the series. I'm going to wear ear protection for at least 6 months. Possession stats at the 35-minute mark is 48% for Stormers, 52% for the Lions. They go to the left now, do the Stormers. It's taken by Jack Conan and wrapped up by Edwin van der Merwe, so they've got the set to the 22. Eddie Price asking for a couple of blockers, so he'll be going to the boot for this. Ooh, Sergio Peterson spills it, but Evan Roos is there to clean up. Trying to get a bit of an angle so he can get some momentum. He's got a lot of red around him, but he does very well as Evan Roos to just soak up a bit of pressure. Masimla goes to JD Schickerling. Schickerling puts his head down. Big hit on him from Luke Cowan-Dickey. Masimla going back down the left, and Tad Burn was up quite quickly and almost created a gap for Sergio Peterson, who gets the pass away. It's a bit messy, and Johan de Toy jumps on it, and Johnny Hill has to make the tackle. Hamish Watson all over that ball. Now down to Duplessis is wrapped up here. They're trying to get some go forward ball. It does go down, so they will have to release. So it's available for Masimla. They're on the left-hand side by the halfway line. Number 7, of which some team did very well. They got a little compliment from Wayne Barnes. Dan Duplessis gets wrapped up by Marcus Smith. Quick ball from Masimla. A lot of pressure there, so Tim Sriel will just put it up in the air. Stuart Hogg's underneath this. Now what will he do? Looking to run inside. He's running towards the right-hand side. Then cuts inside. Quick ball for Ali Price, who goes to Kikau. Throws a long pass out to Duan van der Merwe, who steps inside, got him Masimla. Eventually brought down by Leon Zas. Quite far back is Marcus Smith. Here comes the up and under from him. Another taste of Sergio Peterson, who fumbles it and then grabs it in the air. Evades one, evades two. Gets the turner, gets the ball away for Jan de Jong, who gets up to the half. He pops in contact, and Nama Klaver will go himself. Runs to a couple of players, gets his knee to the ground, so they have to release. Wayne, he's literally kneeling. Bit of pressure here. Tim Sriel going to Ernst van Rijn is very isolated, and Luke Cowan-Dickey is on it like a rash. Grabs it, turns over. Right. Now what can happen? Robbie Henshaw tapping in behind. Cyril Peterson's under a lot of pressure from Stuart Hogg and Henshaw, but the ball will win the race as it goes out. So Storm has been all sorts there. Just no structure at all. It's a very nice kick in behind by Robbie Henshaw. Haven't seen too much of him so far. Short of says, I feel the Lions series is helping the Unions get used to the physical style of play for when they play in the North. 100%. Elendia de Jong was the Stormers centre preparing for a while. As to consider Coach them said nothing happened. That's not going more defence. No, as I said, it was just very easy. And they've been fronting up for a lot to have the Stormers, so to concede that will be frustrating. So line win there by Jay Schikkeling. Evan Ruiz will bash it up inside his 5. He's wrapped up by Johnny Hill. And Masimla's going to shape for the box kick here, or is he going to go to Tim Sriel? He's asked for a blocker in Ernst van Rijn. He doesn't find touch, so it's Duan van der Merwe underneath it. Doesn't help that there's 2 blooming blondies in the back 3. Doesn't make too much progress, but they go to Hamish Watson in the middle of the park, who looks up and sees Dan Duplessis, gets away from Dan Duplessis, still goes Hamish Watson, eventually runs into Jan de Toy. Ali Price sniping, sees a gap. Brilliantly sport line from Henshaw. The pass doesn't go to hand though, it hits the floor, and Jan de Toy is there to clean up. He goes himself, gets him to the 22. That pass has gone to hand from Henshaw. That was definitely try time. Really nice run there taken by Ali Price. Saw the gap. Good support play from Henshaw. The pass wasn't great from him. Masimla once again will use his boot to get them out of trouble. Oh, he slips. I don't know if it was charged down, but he slipped, and now Ali Price kicks it ahead, and Tim Sriel's got to win a race. He does get over, and he'll put it down. Yeah, I think it's a knock-on from Gonda Masimla there. I think he slipped as he took it, and he's knocked it on. So, what was supposed to be a pressure-relieving kick has now turned into a scrum. Big hit on Jan de Toy from Hamish Watson there, but he does the job. He brings him down at the end of the day. So he kicks it into Ernst van Rijn. That's what happens. As he loses his grip, kicks into Ernst van Rijn. Not quite sure what the knock-on is for. I don't know if it was against Leon Lanzas, but we'll restart with the scrum. Had very little stoppages so far this half, which has been quite nice. So we're already closing on the halfway mark. Just, a couple of seconds left in it. Right, time is off. We've hit the 40-minute mark. We're 4 seconds away from it. So as soon as they restart the clock, it'll be 40 minutes. So this will be the last player of the day. And I think if the Stormers, if they can defend this and not concede a try here, to go to half-time 14 points to 3 would not be the worst result. But if they concede a try and suddenly it's 21-3, that's a very, very big uphill battle. I think John Dawson will be pretty happy with that first sort of 25 minutes. But both tries, you got to feel, are pretty soft. But they've played well so far, the Stormers. They've looked like they want to play. They've had some nice intensity. A couple of nice key moments. Sergio Peterson's playing quite nicely at fullback. It's a solid scrum. It's a solid scrum. It'll be available for Jack Conan at the back. It's used as a call from Wayne Barnes. Jack Conan pops up to Ali Price, who goes to Elliot Daly, who carries it up as the first crash ball. Now Clubber's up quickly and trying to contend on the ball. Ali Price snipes. Inside ball to Stuart Hogg. So he's doing Van der Merwe. Price goes to Adam Beard, who goes to Hogg, who almost gets it away, and Johnny Hill will go over. Very, very slick handling there from Stuart Hogg, who gets the final pass away. Johnny Hill's the man that it's over. Adam Beard played a part in that as well, so both locks showing some good hands. Johnny Hill is the man with the try. A try apiece for both locks. 19 points to 3, and a horrible wait for the Stormers, who looked really good that half to end it off. It's just, a couple of phases, and there's just not enough players. You can see Leon Zas trying to get himself out wide. And it's just, they just create a mismatch, and Stuart Hogg's got some really slick handling here. Adam Beard quick, and it's just boom, boom from Stuart Hogg, who draws Neil Lanzas, gets it away from Johnny Hill, who doesn't have a lot to do, gets over there. Stuart Hogg has looked very bright so far this half. I don't think there's any issues about his match fitness. We'll see how long he lasts, but he's looking very sharp so far. But a frustrating first half from the Stormers, who would have felt that they deserved more than this because they've been better than 19-3. But I think they probably might should have been braver with the first 3 points compared to 5 or 7. Is in hindsight, I would have liked for them to go for the line, because ever since then, the British and Irish Lions have been parked in their territory. Marcus Smith hits another one. This is right by the touchline, straight through the middle, so no issues whatsoever for Marcus Smith. Halftime score in Cape Town, 21 points to 3. We'll do a bit of a stats attack in a little bit, but John, just start giving your thoughts down in the comments there. We've hit 2,600 subscribers, so thank you. Please do keep subscribing. But John, an interesting half, and I think that John Dobson would have been happy with 14-3. I think 21-3, he'll feel that's a little bit. It's just that they probably deserve more out of it. So half time, go and get your beverages, open your beers. Get some more beers cold. Let's settle in for what will hopefully be quite a good second half. Da, 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 da. If anybody's watching the golf, by the way, in South Africa, and Louis Usa is looking very good to try and ruin our weekends tomorrow with another runner-up, I reckon, with the way he goes. Ishmael Payne just joined. The last pass looked a bit suspect. Yeah, it's a difficult scene with the angle. I heard the SA game was a real stinker yard. It wasn't great. It really was a waste of time. I think people are overreacting about it. People are losing their minds. I think it's a bit pointless. But yeah, it wasn't a good watch. Could definitely have done something a lot better with my time. So we'll go through some stats now. I'm trying to wait for them to all load. So which players impressed you in that first half? Which players do you think are sort of stepping up for that test team, based on that sort of half, for example, which players do you think are maybe fringe players that maybe could be pushing a start? I'll tell you what, I've been very impressed with Adam Beard. He wasn't supposed to be on the tour at all, and yet he's really, really looking like someone who tries to try and make in the try and make that test side. Right, I'm just waiting for these stats to load. Alright, here we go. Here is your stat attack brought to you by absolutely nobody. If somebody would like to sponsor a stat attack or something, feel free, get in touch. But your stats at half time are 48% possession for the Stormers, 52 for the Lions. Territory 53-47 in favour of the Lions. Obviously 3 tries to 0. Meters run by the Lions are 223 compared to 123 of the Stormers. They've beaten 15 defenders, but Stormers have beaten 10 as well, so they've been pretty solid as well. 7 clean breaks by the British and Irish Lions. That's been the difference. They've looked very, very dangerous with a bit of space. 49 gain line carries compared to 40. 62 passes. So the Stormers have actually made more passes, more offloads as well. But 5 turnovers won by the British and Irish Lions, just the 2. So I think they'll be hoping that Namakaba can try and get more into the game in the second half. He's been quite quiet. 20 kicks from hand compared to 18. The ruck percentages are pretty close. Defense, right. 15 tackles missed by the Stormers, 69 made, operating at 78% tackle success rate. For the British and Irish Lions, they made 66 of 76 tackles and an 87% tackle success rate. Ruck success rate is both 93%. Lions success rate, the Stormers have won 9 out of 10. The Lions have won 8 out of 8. Scrums are both 100% at this stage. And both sides, according to Ultimate Rugby, have conceded 5 penalties apiece. Grant Swart says, good show in parts by the Stormers, giving away soft tries was their undoing. Honey Nelson says, Stormers look tired, they are useless. They look good for 25 minutes, to be fair, and then just the wheels kind of fell off. Honey, now remember that they were playing against the younger side as well. If SA played Glasgow Warriors, it would be similar. Well, we'll see in a couple of months when eventually gets underway. And John Van Nelson says, I can't believe the Bulls beat the SAA team. Look, what I will say about that match is that if Shark Ninabar said before the game, make sure you win the game, the SAA would have won the game. They had more than enough opportunities to kick 3 points and bury the game. You know, they could have won that game. They could have very easily won that game. It's a bit like the British and Irish Lions on Wednesday. If you're being very, very honest, the British and Irish Lions could have chosen to win on Wednesday if they decided not to, or those tap and goes and taken the 3 points. So, you know, you start factoring that in, and I think I wouldn't read too much into those results. Grant Swart says, if the Stormers can score first and early, I think this could be an interesting match. I think, you know, it's, as I said, it's a bit like the other games where the score doesn't really reflect the match. You know, it's usually a lot of sustained pressure and then bang, you know, a couple of bad mistakes and all of a sudden they're in. So that's what the frustration is. Because the Stormers are better than the scoreboard at the moment. They've definitely played better than that. Jay Shugaling surely is putting his hand for a block call. Let's go look at some of the stats, shall we? I think nearly Bashir's looked pretty good. He's made 8 carries so far, 4 tackles. He hasn't missed a tackle yet. Didn't have a great scrum, but he's looked very, very good in the loose. JD Shugaling so far has made 5 carries and 5 tackles. He's missed 2 tackles, 1 offload. Evan Ruiz has made 6 carries, 5 tackles, 1 turnover, 1. But a little bit. I mean, he hasn't had a lot of space to sort of open up and be able to, you know, bring his physicality as Evan Ruiz. But I've been pretty impressed with Sergio Peterson, who hasn't missed a tackle. He's run 57 meters, 5 defenders beaten, 4 offloads, 4 passes. He's been the most impressive backline player for me for the Stormers. If we're looking at the British and Irish Lions, trying to think of players who've done quite a lot. I mean, Hamish Watson's always a big player in defence. He's made 7 tackles, 3 carries so far. Adam Beers made 3 carries, 5 tackles, made 12 meters, 1 defender beaten, 1 clean break, and a try for him. Stuart Hogg has run 61 meters, beating 3 defenders. He's already got a try assist as well, 1 tackle made. Robbie Henshaw's probably been the quietest. The 2 centers have been quite quiet. They haven't really sort of, a bit like the SAA game, where they don't really, I don't think they want to show too much of the centers at the moment. So we haven't really seen the centers carrying the ball up. You know, we didn't see Damien Delendi and Wendell Somlani at all in the SAA game. And we haven't really seen Robbie Henshaw and Elliot Daly in this game. Johnny Nelson says, I don't believe that you should read into those results, buddy. It says a lot of a team. Yeah, I just think that it was both this game and even Wednesday's game to a certain degree were so clearly practice matches for most of the teams. You know, test matches are completely different. Test matches win at all costs. You know, it's not be pretty. It's take the points when you can take the points. You do whatever you can to win the game, and that really hasn't been the case for the two games, the SAA as well as the both SAA games, I suppose. Grant Swan says Beard must be close to Test 23 next week. Yeah, I think if it wasn't for Alan Jones, and it depends obviously how Alan Jones looks when he comes on, but I think that he's been very solid. And I think that after Henderson and Itoja, I reckon I would have gone Adam Beard ahead of Courtney Laws or Courtney Laws, you know, covers more positions, but I would have gone with him as if they're going to go with a reserve lock. But the other options are to go Tad Byrne as well as Courtney Laws, so they can both play flank as well as lock. So they're quite versatile in that sort of respect. And Honey Null says they don't bring it to the Lions, that put them under pressure. It is easy for the Lions. Grass says, I don't think that's been easy for the Lions. Stormers are certainly not out of the contest yet. No, I mean, I think they had some good moments. I think that if they were a bit braver, I think they had a lot of momentum in the first half when they decided to take the points. And I think if they decided to go for the try and go for the or scramble or something like that, I think they had some nice momentum. I think that they could have maybe done something with it, but they opted to instead take the 3 points, and as a result, they're now trading by 17, 18. Use your math. This chair is horrendous. We need to get a new one. The placements here for the Stormers are Andre Hugo-Venter, Dion Blulu, and Levon Mazabruko. So those weren't supposed to be the original place at all. Justin Basson, Marcel Tennyson, Thomas Bursey, Abner Ferreira, and Cornel Smith. That's the bench for the Stormers. For the Lions, it's Jamie George, Marco Vinapola, Xander Ferguson, Alan Jones, Sam Simmons, Garrett Davies, Chris Harris, and Louis Rees-Zammit. One imagines those subs will come in quite early. I'll be very surprised if by sort of 55 minutes we don't see most of the bench on for the Lions. I think that, it's if you want to see Alan Jones out there playing, you want to see something like Louis Rees-Zammit getting more chance, so I think that they'll come on quite early. Jean Renal says British and Irish Lions are going to take the box to school. Yeah, I'm still not sure what we're going to see next week. I'm very, very keen. I'm so excited for it. I'm like frothing in my mouth. But because I don't know what to expect for next week. We don't even know what sort of team we're going to see from the box. It will be nice to be able to call in the box, not just the SAA and stuff like that, from my sort of point of view. But I also don't know who's going to shape up for the British and Irish Lions. I'm very interested to sort of see who they name as their starters. So I think there's quite a lot to be sort of discussed for the coaching staff in the next sort of couple of days. We don't know who's going to be available, for example, for the box. A couple of players still in quarantine and stuff like that. Ali now reckons the Stormers are going to lose 71-3 like every other Union team has. No other Union has conceded 60 points. Let's calm down. Let's not fuel the rhetoric. It was 50s. They're all in the 50s. Actually, no. Sharks were in the 70s, weren't they? 73-33, wasn't it? Oh, that was a horrible game. Well, I don't count that game. I feel like it was an extra game. But the main Sharks game and the main Lions game were in the 50s. Sharks are better, so the Stormers will lose worse than Sharks. Well, the Stormers actually the Western Province beat the Sharks last time they played. So they will disagree on your assessment. This Kia Soren is quite nice, by the way. I'm just looking at the adverts here. I'm gonna have to have a lot more super chats if I want to try and buy a car, but it is quite nice. I'm gonna put a link in the description, by the way. If anyone wants to become a member of the members club, and you can contribute towards the channel and stuff like that, then here is the link. Crispy says Sharks are better though. Well, you can't really make that call, can we? Because literally, I think if you got all your players back, then yeah, Sharks are probably a better squad. But look, like I said, I think the Stormers are the most inconsistent side in the country. I think that one day they can beat anyone, the next day they can be beaten by anyone. And literally that happened. They beat the Sharks. They beat the Bulls club side. They then lost to the Lions. They then beat the Sharks. And then they lost to the Griquas. So they technically drew a win. I don't see it happening. But it must be very frustrating supporting them, because I've never seen a team which sort of flip-flops from being a world-class outfit to being really, really average so quickly and so many times. It must be very frustrating. I can only imagine. See, at least the Lions are consistently bad at the moment. Right, John and Al says, this is the team that can beat the Lions. Colby at 15, Corsi 14. Amde, Lendi, Speckman, Steyn, Kurbis. I'll go Faf ahead of Kurbis. Alstad. I wouldn't go Alstad at all. Tatoy, Sia, Arkes Neyman, Eben, Koch, Bongi, Kitsoff. Yeah, I'm sort of with you about some of those picks. I don't think Alstad's been great. I haven't been particularly impressed by him. William still says, Steve, thank you for the commentary. Remember, most of your viewers can't see the action, so try and give more details to where the action is happening. Well, it's in Cape Town at the moment. No, I get you. To be fair, those who've been on the channel for a while, I don't really try and do blow-by-blow commentary. I prefer to try and do the sort of idea of a watch-along where we can all watch the game together. But I think, with this tour, so many people haven't been able to watch. I haven't really been able to do that sort of thing. So I'd like to kind of get back to it. It's obviously nice if we can all just sort of watch it and then discuss the game. And this is more sort of a discussion platform rather than me just telling you what's happening. But alas, until we get more sort of free viewing and stuff like that in this country, as we had kickoff, that's not going to happen, unfortunately. So take off the kickoff there for the Stormers. The Lions are playing left to right now. Turtle Pieces finds some space down the right. Just keep going, mate. Almost sneaks through. Robbie Hench will eventually make it a tackle, but he's found space all the way up to the 10 meter. Has Turtle Pieces in. Now Ernst van Rijn, first receiver. JJ Kotzer being carried up, and it's one again. Luca and Dickey has made at least about 3 turnovers, and once again it's Tad Furlong down the middle. Jack Conan looking for an offload as well. Roy Southern, huge hit on Edward van der Merwe, but he loses the ball in contact, but backwards is the call. Hamish Watson shrugs off Sherzel Peterson. Then goes to Luca and Dickey, who gets away from Fisher. Eventually gets brought down by Schickerling. Marcus Smith always dived down to the left there. Tim Sweel under pressure. I don't think he's a fine touch is Tim Sweel. So it's kept alive by Marcus Smith by the halfway line. Working their way towards the right hand now. Robbie Henshaw goes himself. He's wrapped up by Edward van der Merwe, and Nama Klabber's over there like a flash, but unfortunately can't get his hands on there. They go to Josh Adams now. Josh Adams tries to kick it ahead. It comes off Sergio Peterson and will roll out for a... Well, this is very interesting from Supersport. We're now currently watching the fan zone. Well, this is interesting if you're watching that. I don't know if you guys in the Sky Sports, I doubt it, but Supersport's got a very interesting feed here. We're busy watching Robbie Kempson. Guys, we don't want to see this. Well, this is certainly interesting about Supersport. I'm not a fan of this, I must admit. So we'll try and keep track of what's happening. The screen is now about this small and this thing. I don't know what's going on here. Supersport, can you sort your cuck out? This game is so boring. Which SA Lions could have played tonight? I wouldn't say it's that boring. I think that I think it's better watched than the probably the Sigma Lions game and the First Sharks game. His ads are terrible. Thoughts on Duran van der Moor? Like, come on, let's not call him names. He went overseas. He's allowed to go overseas. I think he's probably had not as much ball as you'd like. If Supersport could sort out this blooming whatever TV war you're watching, that'll be really, really great. So, yeah, I mean, I can barely blooming see what's going on. Sure, Hogg's on a bit of pressure here. Leon Zasser's run after him after the kick him behind there off the back of the scrum. Now we're back to full screen. Thank you, Supersport, for sorting that out. I mean, really. Now I can actually see what the time is. Okay, so the British Irish Lions are just outside the 22 on the left-hand side. Ali Price goes to the boot. Caleb Harris didn't actually miss me. Okay, fair enough. Yeah, just a lot of people do say it. That's why I thought that was the issue. Yeah, he's been quiet today. I think I'll go check his stats. I mean, he's looked good whenever he's had the ball, but he hasn't really had space to run with the ball. Okay, let me sort my clock out now that we can sort of see exactly what the time is. I'm not quite sure what we were watching there in Supersport. They've obviously got some sort of watch-along feature. And you can listen to chats with Robbie Kempson and the buggers. Let's see what Duan van der Merwe has done, shall we? He's run 61 meters, beaten 4 defenders, 1 clean break, 1 tackle made. And 1 tackle missed. Right, so it's a scrum down here for the British and Irish Lions. And it's a penalty for them. It was taken quickly by Ali Price. Goes to Marcus Smith. Robbie Henshaw now. First time he's had a bit of space to sort of run in. Namat Klaba is really trying to sort of slow that ball down at the breakdown. Strong carry there by Cowan Dickey. Elliot Daly under a bit of pressure decides to just pump it down the middle of the park. So Cyril Peterson has some time. He spots a bit of space down the left. Oh, and Edel van der Merwe lost his footing and wasn't able to get onto that. So they've thrown it straight out to have the Stormers. I think they've got a penalty here to do the Stormers, so that's actually quite a nice little net result for them. Callum Harris says, do you think he would have ever made the box or South Africa A's? I think it's difficult, I mean, he's definitely good enough to, I mean, if you look at him now, he'd be making a lot of our top sides. Whether he makes South Africa, it's early days for him, isn't it, in his international career. Tim Sriel going for the corner here, finds a touch, 1 inside 22, so a nice opportunity here from the Stormers. I'm not sure. I think, we've obviously got world-class wings at the moment, but he's very early on in his international career. I mean, it's his first debut sort of season, really. So, big sort of couple of months ahead for him. Just the fellow says, good evening, Steve, good evening. Welcome. Please do continue to smash that like button, by the way, everybody, and keep subscribing as well. Call comes to use the once as they continue to try and more. It's available for Gondom similar. There's a penalty advantage, so Edel van der Merwe brushes off Marcus Smith, and then an accidental offside to Dan du Plessis, so they'll go back for the penalty. Right, so this will be even closer to the line. So they can get a good more here of the Stormers. They can try and hit back early on. Solid with my Ernst van Rey at the front. It's an early sack, but I'm not sure if I think he managed to get the ball to, the ball's at the back with JJ Kotzer. They're going to have to use it, all the Stormers, so Masimla uses it. Goes to Edel van der Merwe, who once again runs to Marcus Smith, who's been targeted today. Obviously reckon that he's a bit of a weak link in defence. Advantage offside here for the Stormers, so they're going to free roll the dice. So they're going to Swiel, kick pass. Why complicate it? I mean, I know that you can do whatever you want, but just run the hands and have a go there, Tim. So we'll go back for another penalty, and the penalty count's starting to sort of rise a little bit. So I think if they can sort of get another one, we might actually see somebody go down into the bin. Did SAA win? No, they lost to the Bulls. Too many errors from the Stormers. They look tired as well. Yeah, look, I mean, it's tough playing him when you're playing against a side of this quality, and you generally it's just an intensity that these players haven't played against. Their game happens a lot quicker. They reset a lot quicker. Everything's a bit quicker when you play at this level. Right, Abner van Renen warming up. The score was 17-13. That's a horrible line-out. And I think his Boktas JJ Kotze. So it's a short-term penalty, for the British and Irish Lions. And that kind of sums it up for the Stormers. Every single time that they're looking good and it's looking promising, they go and make a basic error there from JJ Kotze. That's really not good at all. Elliot Daly will bring out that left boot of his and finds touch. Not a great touch finder. Didn't have a lot of angle to work with. Yeah, you can see his blocking there. Just poor lineouts. You can't afford to do that. You're not sure how many chances you're going to get, and then you do that. And he's been replaced. So Andre Hugo Venter is on the field. Tim Swiel's also been subbed. That's a big call to put on Abner van Renen now. They're looping around all the Stormers. Edel van der Merwe dabs it behind. It's a nice little kick in behind there from Edel van der Merwe. So they'll pin the lines back into the 22, so they'll have a defensive line out. It's a big moment here for Abner van Renen. I think that taking off Tim Swiel is a huge call. Tim Swiel, I think, has been in very good form. So, yeah, so they go to the front of the line out to the lines. Adam Beard that goes up. Solid take, trying to get them all going. Looks like Jamie George on the field now. He's still going as Jamie George. He's still going. He's eventually wrapped up, but they've made a good 20 meters on there of the lines. Tanner Byrne picks up and goes down the blind side. Inside ball to Johnny Hill, who eventually gets it to Ali Price, who is bundled into touch on the halfway line, but they had a penalty advantage, so they'll go back for the penalty. But a nice sort of spot there from Tanner Byrne to go down the blind side, and well done from similar for managing to wrap him up. Are they forced errors? No, not really. I think I think it's just. Yeah, I don't know if it's the occasion gets to them, but I mean, it's pretty poor to, like a line not operating, to get the call wrong. That's just basics. Watt says that kick pass was not necessary. What was his last contribution for Tim Swiel? So I think John Dobson agreeing with that. But yeah, just, even when you've got an advantage, you don't have to just sort of throw that, you don't have to do something expansive. Right, Jamie George not carrying it up. Andre Hugo Venter is very good at the breakdown. But Marcus Smith decided to go to the different side. Oh, inside ball from Elliot Daly. Bit of enterprise. Jack Conan. Well, that's a bit of Marcus Smith magic. And will Conan go? Yeah, Jack is in. Jack Conan is in. Marcus Smith with the inside ball to Elliot Daly. The first bit of flair we've seen from the British and Irish Lions. And it dissects the Stormers' defense in two. Jack Conan, the man who gets the try to his name. But it's Marcus Smith with the inside ball with Elliot Daly running the perfect line. First time we've seen a bit of enterprise, and they get a try to the British and Irish Lions. First points of the second half. It's really nice here. Marcus Smith just drifting to the left, drifting, creating the space, and then inside ball, almost like a no-look pass to Elliot Daly. He was running a great line. Very nice support play there from Jack Conan. Vinipola also on the field. Yeah, Marcus Smith, David. Marcus Smith magic. Smith is doing well. Yeah, he's looking solid as Marcus Smith. Added the extras as well, so it's 28 points to 3 in the 52nd minute. Abner van Renen, first restart for him, going to the left, and it's right by the touchline. That's a mistake from Josh Adams. They're taking it quickly out of the Stormers. Oh, my living. And then Godwin was similar, trying to pop it up to Evan Ruiz. I don't actually think it went forward. So if they can get the ball, but it's been ripped by Tad Byrne. That's a horrible pass by him. But Dan Duplessis also can't pick it up. And now McClimber picks it up, but eventually a couple of knock-ons here. So a little bit of a messy passage of play. I don't actually know why they took it quickly. I mean, Abner van Renen put it right by the touchline, and Josh Adams lost the ball into touch. And then deciding to take it quickly, where they could have just slowed things down, get a set piece. You're under the cosh here, Stormers, so just take things a bit slow here. Well, here we go. Adelman Jones about to come onto the field, as is Xander Ferguson. the most capped British and Irish Lions player in the professional area. Trying to announce this game is a joke. Well, I still don't think it's looking as bad as the other games, to be honest. So, as I said, it's all about next weekend. It's all about next weekend. Next weekend's the biggie. So we're going to restart with a scrum here. Edelman Jones not ready in SA. No, I'd say, that's an early push there from Stormers. I was a bit confused with what was going on, but you could see he pushed him before the ball. And I don't think it's that he's not rated in SA. I think he's not rated by a particular journalist who's unfortunately got quite a big platform, and he said a lot of stupid things over the last couple of months. I think he's a class player. I don't understand what people are sort of on about when it comes to Edelman Jones. You know, at the end of the day, most capped Test player of all time, most capped British and Irish Lions player in the modern era, professional era. And he's on for Adam Beard, his tour replacement. He'll pack down in the scrum for his first contribution next to Johnny Hill. Tally Furlong off as well. So Villapolo, Xander Ferguson, an all new front row for the Lions. Right, let's see if this front row can... it's gone straight down. It's a penalty to the Stormers, actually. So it's Xander Ferguson. I'll tell you what, Xander Ferguson has not impressed me when I've seen him. He didn't get a lot of chance to impress on Wednesday and didn't. And he's gone straight down there and gifted the Stormers a penalty. So the Stormers are going to have to kick towards a touch here. And if he finds touch, it's not right by the 5. It'll be about 10-15 meters out. Stormers are like an under-8 school team. Now. Let's see what they can do. Let's give them the benefit of the doubt here. Nice and Sleazy says Edelman Jones' quality still world class in his position. Just look at his caps. Well, that's the thing. You can't argue with somebody with his TV. So they've gone short here. They're trying for the more. The Stormers. It gets brought down. So Masimla has to use it. Abel van der Merwe once again. I'm seeing it's deja vu. It's Abel van der Merwe once again. It's wrapped up by Edelman Jones and Hamish Watson. Now Clubber will take it up. They're quite a quiet game as Nama. Wayne Barnes telling people not to play the scrum off. Right, so little Pearson deciding he wants to go the other side here. Fake to pass there and went himself. Right, under Hugo Fenter. Big carry from him. It's a big hit from Marco Vinopola, though. He's driven back as Hugo Fenter. Schickerling now tearing it up. They're behind the 22 of the Stormers, so not really getting any sort of gain on advantage. 8th phase this time. Once again, Sergio Peterson, the man, when in doubt, to try and get them on the front foot. Jan de Toy now, they've gone through a lot of phases. There's 10 phases now for the Stormers. Just got to keep their composure. Nedley Bashir with that carry. Similar going towards the right-hand side now. Jean de Jong, we haven't seen much of him today. Rush straight to Xander Ferguson. He tries to pick him up. Nedley Bashir, good inside ball to his partner Leon Lyons. And there's a bit of a slip there from Evan Lewis, but he's quick to get up, so no chance there to try and turn the ball over. Johnny Hill's got his hands in there. Not sure he's allowed to play it. They do use it. Abner van Rooyen chip over the top. It'll bounce for Stuart van der Merwe, who's cleaning up. Van der Merwe has created a lot of space here. Stoked up a lot of pressure. That's a very nice move. Abner van Rooyen has kicked possession away really, really unnecessarily there. First touch of the ball for Edelman Jones, who takes up contact up against Jean de Jong. And that's just Abner van Rooyen. Why do that? Why do that? You've got 12, 13 phases. Now you kick over the top. And now they've managed to win possession back, and Ali Price will kick this. He probably won't even try to kick this out. Yeah, he keeps it in. So a chance for Adam van Renen to rectify his mistakes. He goes left to Sergio Peterson under a lot of pressure, who then goes left to Edel van der Merwe, who's been wrapped up by Josh Adams behind the halfway line. The support comes in for the Stormers, but it's a penalty for holding on. So poor. There was no need for Adam van Renen to chip over the top there. A couple of words there between a couple of players. I think Josh Adams telling a couple of players to F off. Ty, how do you think the scrum battle will go in the test? I actually don't know. I suppose it depends who the scrum battle is between. You know, whether we're going to have Frans Malherbe and Oxen Chair or Steven Kitsoff, or who's going to be involved. You know, if we can get Frans Malherbe back, then he's a massive, massive asset to the box. Really, really solid scrummager. But if we don't have him available, then it becomes a little bit more complicated. Anyways, it's a penalty on the halfway line here for the Lions, as Elliot Daly will use his left boot to get them cheapest. That's a fantastic kick. He's right on the 5 meter there. And I got Chris Harris on for Robbie Henshaw. It wasn't a great game for Henshaw. He hasn't had a lot of opportunity to play this tour. Louis Salmon is on as well as Gareth Davies. I'm not quite sure Louis Salmon is on for. I'm going to imagine it's for Duan van der Merwe. Josh Adams. So Reece Salmon is on for Josh Adams. So a lot of pace on the wing all of a sudden. Right, on the 5 meter, Jamie George is going to look for Johnny Hill probably at the back there, I reckon. No, they go to Ellerman Jones and straight over the top there. So, ooh, and it's messy from Johan de Toy. Just doesn't understand the rules there. I mean, Godlin Masimla fumbled the ball, and as he's about to grab it, Johan de Toy, who's in front of him, then goes and snatches it, which is obviously an offside position. He just can't help himself. Tap and go, yeah, Marco Vinapola. Pick up and go on Tad Byrne. He's driven back by JD Schickerling. They're trying to get grounding here, are the Lions. I think the Stormers have actually turned this over. Yeah, they have. And they've come offside and trying to play Godlin Masimla, and they've won the penalty as well. So the Stormers get away with that one. Some big tackles there by the Stormers. But it's just so poor from Johan de Toy. I mean, to not realise you can't play that ball. That's just basics. So it looks like COVID was the issue that has kept the other players out. Just saw that on Twitter now. So it's a rolling more here for the Stormers. Andre Hugo Fence got it at the back. It's another penalty from the Stormers, so they can just kick their way upfield. Only conceded the one try so far of the Stormers in the second half. So you know they can score a try and try and make this a little bit closer. It will be a decent outing for them. Grant Swartz says Adam van Renen is a frustrating player. He does a lot of good, and then he just does something that's a decent kick. They're sort of progressing further up the park. Johnny Hill looks really sore and really tired here. So the Stormers have lost one line so far. They've won 15, so they've been pretty solid. Fenton now will try and make sure that he finds a jumper here. It's a solid throw. Goes to JD Schickerling. Driven back initially. Bercy is on for Zas. Which means that Masimla's still on, but Burley's is in the scrum off position, and they've come through the middle there and taken down Venter. And it's turned over by the Lions. Really good maul defense. When it's not working, and it hasn't really worked, the maul, stop using it. You know, you've got to try and be a bit creative here, Stormers. Da-da-da-da-da. Johnny Hill receiving attention. I told you he didn't look particularly happy. Time is off at the moment, getting some strapping on his ankle. Big things expected from Andre Hugo Fenton. You've got to feel sorry for him. I mean, his father played for the Springboks well over 60 times. He's played the British and Irish Lions, so a nice opportunity for him to be able to play them. But quite a lot expected from the young hooker. Looked very, very good for the SA Under-20s. A very nice ball carrier. And I think we'll see him quite a lot in the Currie Cup in the coming months. Time is off while a couple of players get treated for some injuries. Evan Roos has looked all right today. I think he would have liked to have had more opportunity and more clean ball. Right, so it looks like we're eventually ready to continue. We have Lions put in inside their own half on the right hand side of the field. It's gone down on the side over here, so I think we'll have a reset. It's Xander Ferguson who's gone down. Still no replacement props on here for the Stormers. I think they don't have a great replacement prop, so you can understand why they want to try and give these two as long as run as they can. Grass, the Stormers need to retire them all now, give the ball to the backs. Literally, it's the same as the SAA. I mean, Turtle Peterson's looked dangerous whenever he's had the ball. You got John de Jong, who hasn't had a sniff of the ball today, and we keep going for the mauls. It's just, I don't understand it. I don't understand it. Much better hit there from the Lions, and here comes the pressure from them. They've got a penalty advantage. Gareth Davies goes to Elliot Daly, who then goes to Stuart Hogg, draws him, Julian van der Merwe, right, has he got the pace? Cuts inside, he gets wrapped up, but he gets away from John de Jong, inside ball to Stuart Hogg, out the back pass there, out the back door from Gareth Davies. It's alive, well inside the Stormers half, good stuff there from the back, really nice handling. Marcus Smith going to Alun Jones, it's a nice pop off to Ferguson. Alun Jones is after him as well to provide support. He takes out the pop and he gets the offload away. Well, I tell you what, Alun Jones, 2 offloads there in about 10 seconds. Marcus Smith, he spots a bit of space. Dabs to the head, and they've missed it. And Tad Byrne was going in. He had to get that. I think it was Dan du Plessis. So Tad Byrne is in. Marcus Smith spotted the space in behind and just chipped it over the top and said, well, whoever wants to try has just got to make sure that the one Stormers player doesn't mark it. I think it's Dan du Plessis who misses out. They said time off here, so I think they're going to want to have a go look at this. But it was the handling. Some really good touches there. Stuart Hogg, Julian van der Merwe. So a couple of good pops off the ground. Some really good support play. So it's Julian van der Merwe as he's being driven towards the touch. Inside ball goes to Stuart Hogg. So they want to check if that's forward. Stuart Hogg then does this over the top to Gareth Davies, who picks it up and then goes out the back door at the bottom here. Keeps inside. So the forward pass is the call. So Stormers getting away with that one. Some really, really slick handling in the proceeding of that. But it'll go back for the forward pass. So it will be a scrum for the Stormers. Forward pass off Julian van der Merwe is the call. Yeah, it's definitely forward from Julian van der Merwe, no doubt about that. Right, a couple of minutes and I'm going to be putting in the player rating article where you can go and all rate the players and stuff like that. Stormers put in here. And a reset. Of course there's a reset. We've had resets all night. The Scrums have had absolutely no stability whatsoever. The Storms managed to use it. They eventually finally getting their backline into it, and it's been I think it's a great tackle by Chris Harris. He pops it up to Reece Samet. Reece Samet's got an open space. He gets the offload away to Daly, but he can't pick it up. He smashes it back inside his Daly, trying to keep the ball alive. And Hamish Watson, under a lot of pressure, just decides to play it whilst he's in touch, giving away a line-out for the Stormers. Almost very dangerous there. If that pass had gone to hand from Reece Samet to Elliot Daly, I reckon he was over there. So it's been crucial that that pass didn't find the man. At least 2 4 passes in that try. Yeah, I think if we go and look at the entire thing, it probably would be. But it was a really, really nice work try. Some nice handling there. Solid line win there from Stormers, and it's I think it's Marcel Tennyson now on the park who carries that up. Sergio Peterson, he's looked very good tonight. I've actually been very impressed with him. Jean de Jong calling for the kick ahead. And the Fernand obliges. So Stuart Hogg will have a lot of time to decide what he wants to do with this here. Decides to go to the... Oh, that's a big hit on Stuart Hogg. Runs into 2 very big forwards, but there's a couple of players back, so they won't lose possession. Alan Jones will put his head down, take his... Now Marcus Smith goes to Hamish Watson. Davies goes to Smith. That's a very nice pass there. Oh, Venipolis in a gap. Venipolis away. Inside ball to Gareth Davies. Outside to Marcus Smith. Quick pass out to Duan van der Merwe. He cuts inside. Duan van der Merwe. Marcus Smith is there. Up against Abner van Renen. Abner van Renen makes the tackle. And it will go out. Almost brilliant stuff from Marcus Smith and the players. Really good stuff combining there. A bit of magic. I tell you what, Marcus Smith's an exciting player. He's starting to turn up the heat now. Okay, so Lee Marvin Mazabuko is on. They're right on the edge of the lines. It's very good from them. They've won it was their line out, and you can see the penalty here. The Stormers here. I think it's Jean de Jong. They're still going, and it's over eventually by Xander Ferguson. The Stormers' defense just collapsing there. A couple of pick-up and goes and stuff like that, and it's kind of sort of becoming a little bit inevitable. Yeah, the quick tap of the lines, they've enjoyed doing that. Sorry, we've got to change the scoreboard back to 28, but it is 33 now. Yeah, I'm just busy sorting out the voting thing, which I'm going to put in the chat now, and we can go and vote on their teams and stuff like that. So Marcus Smith will have his opportunity to try and convert the 5th try of the match. And the Stormers, yeah, it's looking very flat, unfortunately. A couple of errors and stuff like that. I would have liked to have seen them use the backline a little bit more. I think Jean de Jong has had a lot more to offer than what we've seen from today. But it's another very, very good kick from Marcus Smith. 35 points to 3 is the score with 11 minutes to go. For the Stormers, it's now just a case of damage control. Damage control. Well out of it. Well outplayed. They can't really match up, can they? You know, and they had some good moments with the Stormers, but you know, not being able to score a try will be really heartbreaking for them. You know, so they can try to get a consolation, give them something to celebrate. So nice kickoff there, but oh dear, it almost looked like Sam Simmons had burst through the middle there. He's on the park there. Gareth Davies going to the right hand side. I don't think they're going to kick too much now, will the Lions? Hamish Watson will carry it up. Gareth Davies lobs it up. Solid chase there from Reece Zammit, and it's popped back in for Sam Simmons, who goes inside, outside, gets away from Adam Ferrini. He's still going. He's eventually brought down by Bursey. Oh, Marcus Smith delays the pass. Oh, and it's good from Harris. Oh, ball over the top doesn't go to anybody, so it's a bit messy for Elliot Daly. He picks it up. I mean, they're just popping it anywhere at the moment, other the Lions. Lots and lots of little pops and stuff like that in and around the place. That's a bit of a messy ball there, and it's dived upon by, I think it's Neil Otto. Now Bursey spots a bit of space in behind and taps it through. It's Reece Zammit there, who pegs it down the middle. Sergio Peterson has been turned, so he'll try and counter from deep. Sergio Peterson, probably the most expensive Stormers player of the day. I mean, that must be about his 10th carry, but he's run into Venipola and Alaman Jones, which is not a good idea. Gareth Davies is very quick off his line there. We're having a look at a clean out apparently. Bursey going for touch, and it bounced just inside. So Marcus Smith guilty of letting that bounce. He shouldn't have. He had lots of time. Thought it was going to bounce straight out in the full, and it literally bounced by his feet and then goes out. So it's probably the first real mistake for Marcus Smith. So we're going to look at a reckless clean out here. I'm not sure who it's by. Bulls will beat the Lions. Well, we'll never know, won't we? Jean Renal, the Stormers are playing worse than Sharks and the Sigma Lions. I think that's harsh. I think it's harsh. I mean, 35 points to 3. You know, the scoreboard doesn't point to that. We're looking at a clean out chair. So we're looking at this clean out chair. I think the clean out's on Venipola. Nah, there's nothing wrong with that there. I think it's Dion Blula who's made it. I mean, it looked like it was bad from Wayne Barnes' cap, but that's no issues there. Stormfeld, I would say the Stormers did better than they did not let in over 70 points. Yeah, exactly. Who's been the standout player on the pitch? Who's been the man of the match? Probably Luke. I thought Luke Dickey was very good in the first half. Made a lot of turnovers. Got a try, I think, didn't he? Who else has been pretty good? Marcus Smith has been pretty good. Hamish Watson's been pretty good. Dylan van der Merwe had the Marcus Smith. I mean, how is that for a player? Little inside thing, and then decides he's going to pass to Dylan van der Merwe by literally chipping it backwards. And it's a brilliant penalty won there by Jean de Jong. Telling everybody to calm down. Like, a bit of experience coming in there. Says calm down. We've got 9 minutes. We can go to the corner, try and score a try. He's such an exciting player as Marcus Smith. I mean, there, he literally, under pressure, steps aside, turns around, and kicks it literally laterally to Dylan van der Merwe. Plenty of space over there. the confidence that this player that he's playing with, Marcus Smith, is unbelievable. It really, really is. So Stormers right on the 5 meter here. Solid carry there. I think it's Neil Otto in the man 26. Was that corner? Smith is it? Ooh, and they've lost it forward at the Stormers. I mean, a brilliant opportunity for them to do something, and they've lost it forward in contact. They were right on the try line as well. It's the captain, Ernst van Rijn. He knows that was his moment. He knows. Right, can you put in the player ratings now so you can go and vote? Go and cast your votes and rank every single player between 1 and 10 based on what you've seen tonight. It's a penalty for the Stormers for early engagement, which is really important. I think it quickly here. Marcus Smith has found a bit of space. He's found a bit of space. Still going, Marcus Smith. Looking around for the support. Where's he going to go? Towards the man outside to Louis Rees-Zammit. Well, nobody's catching him. Nobody's catching him. From the 22 to the 22, Marcus Smith, the magician, could very well be bagging a man of the match on debut. Brilliant try from the British and Irish Lions. That took it quickly. Marcus Smith saw the gap. He waited, and once he got that pass to Louis Rees-Zammit, nobody was ever going to catch him. 40 points to 3, and the Stormers could have scored a try to have made it look like a half-decent game. And instead, they've been, I mean, it's Abner van Rijn and John de Jong who can't get anywhere near Marcus Smith. He's always looking around as Marcus Smith, waiting for Peterson to commit, and eventually getting the pass away, and off he goes. Off he goes. Rees-Zammit, no one's even near him. Yeah, we'll vote for man of the match in the player rating show, but I've been very, very impressed with Marcus Smith. I reckon we're going to see a lot more of him in the England shirt next season. I mean, obviously you've got Ford and Owen Farrell, who have sort of been used the most over the last sort of couple of years. Owen Farrell mainly being used at inside centre, but this kid is properly good. Yep, and straight through the middle from Marcus Smith. 42 points to 3, 5 minutes to go. Damage control time for the Stormers. Going deep from the kickoff is Abner van Rijn. It's Sam Simmons underneath it. Big hit on him. Going up deep is Gareth Davies. Sort of Peterson knocks it on. Marcus Smith gets the ball away to Vinipola. So Marcus Smith just won't stop influencing this game at the moment. Davies goes to Smith. Goes to Harris. Harris delays the pass, goes himself. Sees a bit of a half gap, gets through. Quick ball from Davies. It's Smith once again, who decides to go to the other side. Pops to Alwyn Jones, who gets around Ernst van Rijn. Gets the pop out. Stuart Hogg now coming into it. Ball over the top from Johnny Hill, who then goes to Rees-Zammit. Now Rees-Zammit's got a bit of space ahead of him. He chips and chases. Who's got the pace? Who's got the pace? Sergio Peterson is tracking back, and he'll win the race there and just dab it back. So too far is a kick from Rees-Zammit. Masimla's trying to get this ball going. Playing on the wing now is Godlin Masimla. 3.5 minutes to go. Yes, the Stormers have to go all the way from their 22 to the last 22. They want to try and salvage a consolation try. Abner van Rijn is touched over there, so everyone's on side. And it's not been taken cleanly. And Marcus Smith, of all players, through and away from another one. Surely not. Oh, and he gets tackled as he's about to get the offload away. Sergio Peterson now with the counter-attack. He chips over the top. It bounced unfavorably for Chris Harris. Under a bit of pressure. Diving pass to Stuart Hogg. Big pass out wide in behind. So a bit of pressure here. Sam Simmons now gets out to Tad Bird. Now Tad Bird's got the space ahead of him. He commits Ernst van Rijn. Now doing in front of him. Has he got the pace? Gets inside. Gonda Masimla makes the tackle. Tad Bird with the offload. Stuart Hogg. He's got Sam Simmons inside him. This will be a try, but who will it be? It'll be Sam Simmons. Sam Simmons, 47 points to 3. And the Stormers just run off their feet at the moment. I mean, lots of offloads there. They're going from one side to the other of the British and Irish Lions. The handling's impressive, it must be said. It was almost a brilliant piece of play by Marcus Smith. Before, as he's making the pass, he knocks it on. Then Sergio Peterson tries to counter-attack, almost makes a good job, but Chris Harris is very well to get that ball to Stuart Hogg. And then they go left, they go right, and then they go down the left. And then it's just the case, it's the unselfishness of the British and Irish Lions players. You know, it's always looking for the offload. That is the trick at the moment. They are always looking for the offload. Even if they think that they can still gain some meters, or if they think that they can maybe go in. You know, they realize they've got the awareness that this player is in a better position, or that player is faster than me. Always trying to get the ball to the best sort of players. And, you know, Stormers have just been run off their feet in the second half. Marcus Smith will add his extras. I reckon that's man of the match right there. What a performance on debut. Wasn't even part of, I mean, he was flew in on, like Thursday? Sorry, on Monday. He flew in on Monday. And he's come and displayed this performance. I mean, brilliant stuff from him. If there was ever somebody who might get it close to like a 10 out of 10 performance in our player rating, it could be Marcus Smith based on this performance. You'll probably end up with a 9 because it's not a test match, but it really has been very impressive. Right, 49 points to 3. The Stormers will not want to concede another... Oh, it's a knock-on from Johnny Hill. So he's just allowed the Stormers right back into territory. It's a horrible take by the lock. Now, what can the Stormers counter up? JD Strickland goes to Ernst van Rijn. It's poor, and it'll go forward from Abner van Rijn. And they'll go back for the original knock-on there. So, yeah, they'll have one last try. Well, one last attempt to get a try here from the Stormers. Da da da. And they're moving the scrum because there's a bit of sand in the way. It'll be a Stormers put in as the clock runs red. We're into 18th minute. Can they just get a consolation? I mean, 49 points to 10 does look a little bit better than 49 points to 3. Every side that have played the British and Irish Lions, including Japan, including Sydney Lions, have scored a try. So the Stormers will be the first team not to be able to score a try. What will the British and Irish Lions take from this game? That's a huge scrum from the British and Irish Lions. They've won the penalty. Will they take the foot off the gas? Will they try and go for another try? Well, we'll have to wait and see. The Stormers are in all sorts there. I think Vinopola saying, put them out of their misery, chaps. And Elliot Daly's going, mate, we could do 50 here. Yeah, Elliot Daly asking, you know, can we go for another one? And Vinopola saying, no, shame. I want to go have a shower. Full time in Cape Town, 49 points to 3. A brilliant second half effort from the Lions. They're completely blown the Stormers away. Yeah, I mean, a masterclass from Marcus Smith. Very impressive stuff from the youngster. Really good performance from the British and Irish Lions. The Stormers had a good first 25 minutes. They really looked like they were up for the game. But after that, the second half, they just couldn't compete. They were completely run off their feet, were the Stormers. And it's another win for the men in red. Actually, I suppose back to winning ways for the winning red after losing on Wednesday. So they beat all the provincial sides. They've only gone down to the SAA. The next time they're in action will be the first test next weekend. Thank you very much for watching. Please do smash like on the video, subscribe to the channel as well. If you'd like to become a member of the channel, I'll put the link into this chat now. That's how you can become a member of the channel if you'd like to. Otherwise, please do keep subscribing, and we'll be live in about an hour for about an hour for the player rating show. We'll be live at 9 because we're going to go jump into the British and Irish Lions press conference. We'll have that up later as well. Thank you very much for watching. Smash like the video, subscribe to the channel as well. My name is Steven, and I'll see you guys all very soon.